してんじゃん神さえも恐れぬ奴らに極上バイオレンス闇を払い人々の嘆きの声にその腕を差し出せ In the fire Break it down 破滅への鐘が響くよ終わりのない永遠の冒険 In the fire Crash on crash 愚かな時代の末路にさあ警告しよう Don't wanna know whatever you really really know
Some people call us fanatics. I consider ourselves enthusiasts. I am KaijuNoir, and this is Shuwatch!
Stupid dynamic Ultra Force.
Go!
Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to the 1-year anniversary special of Shuwatch Super Dynamic Ultra Force Go. I am, as I just mentioned, your host, KaijuNoir. Here with me is the return of David, aka Gorizard.
Oh, hello. This is Asian Swag.
Okay, and the guy, that other guy over there is Adam.
Hello.
And that last dude over there coming back once again on the show is our semi-regular guest, Jacob Baker, the Kaiju Maker from Atomic Stick Figures Productions.
Flag on the moon. How did it get there?
That is a very deep philosophical question, as much as why are there Nazis on the moon, and why are there now Nazis in the center of the Earth riding dinosaurs?
Because it's epic, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, why is there that random explosion behind that Megazord transforming?
And of course,
because it's awesome. That's why.
And of course, the biggest of all questions: why is Captain Kirk climbing a mountain? Why is he climbing a mountain?
Captain Kirk is climbing.
Actually, I think the better question is, why don't you go in the house behind you? Why don't you go in the house behind you?
Oh.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the hell is he... Oh, yeah, that's my show.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Adam and I, we recently recorded the first episode of Creature Feature Double Feature, the podcast, or the Creature Feature Double Feature, the podcast.
Or Creature Feature Double Feature podcast, or just Creature Feature Double Feature, or just Creature Feature Double Feature podcast thing.
Ultra Deluxe, extended, longer, and uncut.
Shin Millennium EX Plus.
You guys joke, I'll probably do that for a special episode just to really piss people off.
Super Creature Feature Double Feature 8 Turbo HD Remix.
Something like that.
Ultra Arcade Edition 2.0 Beta version. Max.
This is not Capcom.
I know.
Or how the Japanese pronounce it, popcorn.
But yes, this is the 1-year anniversary. This is the fact that we have gone on. We have the three of us now extending our reach over to Jacob Baker. We've done this for 1 year now. This is the we know the SOS, they've had their 1-year anniversary. The DFOS, they've had their 1-year anniversary. And now here's the time to begin a journey, to celebrate the beginning of a journey that began on, as of, for you, the listeners, January 13th, 2014. So just want to give a quick, we want to know your quick reflections. Adam, how does it feel? How do you feel that we have done this show for a year now?
Well, I can tell you that I didn't like doing the show at first, but now I've come to absolutely love it and can't wait to do Shuwatch. I absolutely love this show. It's, to me, what a podcast really should be. Just my opinion, of course, no judging. And yeah.
How long are you going to keep that no judging thing up? You know you're going to break.
No, I shall never break it.
And David, how do you feel about being on this show for a year now?
I have feelings? No one told me. I'm surprised we're still on.
I'm surprised David.
It's been a year, right?
It has been exactly a year.
Oh shit, I'm thinking like 2 years.
No, that's next year's second year anniversary special, man. We still have a whole other journey for that thing.
A lot of family podcasts journeys.
Oh yeah, back when I foolishly thought that we could keep this at like a PG level. But nope. We have definitely crossed the line so many times that, we can already kiss the chances of ever having our panel at G-Fest. But yeah. And Jacob, with you being a semi-regular guest, how do you feel about being on this podcast for as long as you have been? And have you been your overall thoughts on the show?
Honestly, I'm surprised you guys haven't kicked me out yet. I mean, to me, it's just an honor being able to be on the podcast because, well, because now I'm a fan, and not only just am I a fan, I'm actually part of it now. So that's, mind-blowing on that level for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm super thrilled that you guys keep having me on here sporadically, and I'll keep trying my best to make sure that my quality of comedic timing will show through in a pinch.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we will enjoy whatever sort of comedic outgoings you still produce until it gets better. But to quickly go into our first section of the podcast, there was a recent announcement that concerning an American live-action adaptation of a very well-known anime franchise, Ghost in the Shell, which I believe started as a movie, and then there was a TV show called Standalone Complex, and then there's this new property called Ghost in the Shell Arise, which I'm not sure if that's a new TV show or like an OVA series or what. But
I think it's supposed to be a sequel to the first Ghost in the Shell movie. Because for some reason I just decided to just find Ghost in the Shell. I just had a nicking to see it.
Yeah.
Ever since the news broke out that Scarlett Johansson is gonna play it.
Right.
And in my research of in what way I'm supposed to watch it, apparently there have been two movies. The one from 1995 and this one, Arise, or 2.0, as some are calling it.
Well, there's Ghost in the Shell. I love Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell. There's Ghost in the Shell. Then there's Ghost in the Shell, like Arise, which is a sequel movie.
Because I thought doesn't that
and then they remade Ghost in the Shell as Ghost in the Shell 2.0.
And they added like CGI effects to them, to CGI sequences, right?
They made it look more like the sequel movie, which both are really interesting to check out, by the way.
Well, I thought the animation from the original was top-notch.
Well, what they did, and to me, I actually completely, unlike George Lucas defying Star Wars, I actually understand why they changed up the animation for 2.0, is because the sequel looked so different stylistically from the first one, simply because of the progression of technology, that the director went back and said, this is what I really wanted it to look like, but we couldn't because of the time period. And though I prefer the original version of the movie, personally, I really do like watching them both back to back.
Because, I'm looking at Ghost in the Shell Arise right now, and from what I'm seeing and looking at, it's supposedly a reimagining of Ghost in the Shell with a younger Motoko Kusanagi, like her at the beginning of her career.
The only thing that I really know is that the music for everything... Ghost in the Shell has some of the best music ever for any anime, period, in my opinion. It's really good. Very ominous music, too.
Like, wasn't there that thing that happened a couple months ago where someone recreated the opening of the Ghost in the Shell movie in live action with Motoko getting her, like, new android body or, like, cyborg body getting made?
I haven't seen it, but that would be really cool because I love that sequence.
And with the news broke out with Scarlett Johansson being cast in the lead role of this live-action movie, I noticed a lot of people like raising their fists up in the air and going, "Lucas!" or their equivalent as such. Like, so many people, like, with rage, they were like, "No, this can't be it. This is wrong in so many levels." And I guess most of it because, like, people were just not fans of Scarlett Johansson, but I think another thing was, like, it doesn't matter if she's a good or bad actor. What the important thing is that she's not Japanese. So with her being cast, it seems like they pretty much are turning the main character into a Caucasian, and
basically whitewashing the character.
Yeah, whitewashing. And this reminded me of that script that David has told us several times in the past, where about this live-action Akira movie where they wanted to take place in America, and they were kind of also whitewashing the characters and giving it a bit more of an international appeal. So I wanted to talk about what I wanted to talk about in this section is our thoughts on the idea of changing a character's race and how it could negatively or positive have a negative or positive impact on a previously established story, and just talk about certain examples that have happened in the past.
Well, I'm not going to list an example, but I do want to talk about the whole Idris Elba as new James Bond, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've heard you should hear, like, Rush Limbaugh is going apeshit over that. Like, he's like, "No, that's so stupid." And to be honest,
did he mention something about it having like being like something like that would ruin America or whatever?
Well, it's Rush Limbaugh, so that wouldn't surprise me. But when he was complaining about it, and I was curious as to why he'd feel so negatively towards that, and I agreed with some of what he said, because I was like, James Bond has always been white in the past, keep the kind of thing going, you know. But at the same time, I'm like, but if a black guy was to ever play James Bond, I could really picture Idris Elba doing it. So I feel like I'm really in the fence about that. I guess my overall opinion is that I don't really care as long as it's done right. If it's done well, then I'm fine.
So what would be your definition of it being done right and it being done wrong?
Can't really think of many.
Well, I got an example.
Okay.
Like, hypothetically let's say that they rebooted James Bond, and they still made him white, but now he's a mercenary instead of a spy. And he's a pussy instead of a badass.
So Shinji?
Well, James Bond wouldn't have an Ava unit to pilot.
That would be awesome.
Basically, he would be retreating from firefights.
But imagine, like, that's how Shinji Bond or whatever, that's how he's going to solve all his problems. He's going to do all his espionage in a giant robot suit, just smash Blofeld and, like, bam! There, that's it. Day is saved.
Which I gotta say, there are some serious hints in the latest James Bond movie, Skyfall, that James Bond has slept with a man before. I just want to say that right now. That one fucking scene. Oh my god.
Well, when you think about it logically, he's a spy, so he would need to, whatever persona he needed to take for whatever mission, he would have to be put in that situation at some point. I mean, it's like Bob from the Deadpool Max series. That happened to him. So I can see that happening with Bond.
Because I think I meant...
He's been lying to himself this whole time, secretly. Secretly, James Bond wears dresses in the bathroom to just feel really comfortable with himself, and then he's grabs out of it and then walks out. I mean, I do that in my spare time. I left my
Bond in dresses, just looking in the mirror saying, "Bond, James Bond."
I prefer to be shaken, not scared, if you know what I mean.
So he's like Ed Wood, and he actually wears women's underwear out in the battle?
Yes, that's
like a little
exactly what I
garter
like
belt.
to do when I go out and spy for my country.
No, what he does is in one of his pockets he carries it because he realizes that he could sleep with a woman at any time just because the mission calls for it, so he has to be manly as possible. But the Japanese wound up finding it when they were turning him Japanese, so that would have been an interesting conversation thingy that happened there. Just saying.
You just want to see every character done gay. Just admit it, Adam. It's your agenda. Just fess up.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I've listened to. Anyways, I've listened to Bill and Dylan. They've talked about like the possibility of Idris Elba becoming Bond, and
you haven't gouged your ears out yet?
no, because surprisingly, I am a regular listener to the Demons from Outer Space. But I've listened to them, and they don't seem at all concerned about his race. Well, the only thing is like, what does this mean to the Bond continuity? Because I guess there's that fan theory that Bond is simply a code name that is passed
theory.
from like character to from person to person. But then there are other things that contradict that fan theory. And
There are things that do that. First off, I hate to say it, but other than with the Daniel Craig James Bond, because that clearly is its own entity,
Yeah.
I kind of bought into that theory
Mhm.
a little bit with the Bond from the 60s into the mid-90s.
Mhm.
And to the point that my Bond story that I kind of wrote, it ends with James Bond dying, and then Roger Moore James Bond comes in,
Yeah.
and he's called 007, and stuff like that. So I personally buy into that.
Uh-huh.
Well, the Woody Allen Casino Royale, that was what that movie was all about. It was a bunch of spies named James Bond.
And
Yeah.
was that supposed to be a parody or something?
Yeah,
That
It was a
definitely-
full-out
that was
comedy, and it was a
definitely
piece of shit.
parody.
It
It was. You know what? They had like 7 directors.
that Casino Royale?
Yeah,
Wow.
7 directors, including Woody Allen.
I didn't know what to do with the movie. I needed some help, so I contacted a bunch of my friends for this movie.
So that actually kind of happened because apparently he got so mad during production he left and quit.
Now I'm imagining his character from what was that one movie he made? I can't believe I'm blinking out that one movie he made. It's named
the
after
one
the
movie
girl
out
in
of the billions of movies he made.
It was
The
a
only
movie,
good one being What's Up, Tiger Lily.
It was a movie based on like he gets together with a girl and then he breaks up with that girl and the movie is named after that girl. Well, I'll find it later, but
It was
Not a big
referenced on
fan
that
of Woody
70s
Allen.
show.
Personally.
but anyways, so oh yeah, you know, we didn't actually talk about it, but what do you guys think of the idea of Scarlett Johansson as Makoto? Was it Makoto or Matoko?
Makoto.
Matoko, yeah.
Well,
Well,
I want to
okay,
say. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, I'm sorry, but I'm just a casual fan of Ghost in the Shell. I haven't watched Standalone Complex nor Arise, although I've seen both on Netflix recently. But yeah, I've seen the movie and I really enjoyed it. But it's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Well, in terms of like characters' races, when you're taking a franchise and adapting it, if you've got a character who's a specific race, they really need to have an actor of that nationality play that part. The only time where you could slide with it is like Justin Chatwin as Goku, because since he's an alien, it doesn't mean he's going to look Oriental. He just landed in the Orient. So with something like that, you could just do whatever. But with someone who's actually specifically like Japanese or Korean or what have you, honestly, I believe that they need to stick with that because it's what the fandom knows and that's what we want to see.
I guess for me, the race would only really, I would find race to be like an essential part of their character. I guess if their race is like an important part of who they are, because I guess being of a certain race, I guess there are certain people who grew up within a certain ethnicity's culture or background, and that or their ethnicity is like makes a huge part of who they are in terms of how they were brought up. But if I remember correctly from Ghost in the Shell, her ethnicity I didn't see her ethnicity, Kusanagi's ethnicity playing a huge role in her character. Just that she was like a cyborg cop who just so happened to have been Japanese. And I think like with her character, you can translate that into any race, and I don't think it would make that big of an impact. At least that's how I see it.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, since there are in cybernetic bodies that aren't their own, I mean, they could look whatever.
Yeah, so she probably wasn't even Japanese in the first place. I mean, unless they have explained her origin in somewhere that I haven't been aware of yet.
Huh. I don't know. It's like I have such an iffy opinion on everything that it's like...
I guess with Spider-Man, I think when The Amazing Spider-Man was in production, I forgot who, there was this African-American actor who wanted to audition for the role of Spider-Man. And
no, I have a good example.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Annie.
Yeah, Annie. With Annie, it's like, I don't know, with Annie, it's like, when I saw that, the thing is, I've seen that trailer so many times in 2014.
Oh, me too.
It was like, they show that trailer at every single...
Every single movie?
Every single movie.
Every single movie.
Yeah, it's like, but the thing is, I guess with Annie, it's like, does Little Orphan Annie, is her race big part of who she is? I mean, with Orphan Annie, like, she's a very old character that's been around for decades, and I don't know, with that, when that sort of case, it's like, is it really, when you change the race, is it like, and then that brings up a big thing where it's like, what do you do when you have like a really a character that's always been white, or it's always been a particular race, and then you change it? It's like, when I saw that, I think I explained this in a previous video in my summer 2014 wrap-up reviews. I made a point where it's like, I feel like they were trying to make it, they changed the race of that character simply to, I guess, appeal to a new audience. Which, in a way, is that considered disrespectful to the other audiences who grew up with the previous incarnation?
Well, I can tell you, I personally think that this new version of Annie is disrespectful to the story of Annie.
It's like they didn't even change her race. They changed Daddy Warbucks' race. So it's like it's like you looking at the trailer. You're like, yes, this is the black version of Little Orphan Annie.
And I'm like,
and it
really?
just made me feel uncomfortable. Like,
it did.
Yeah, it's like, if
would that same apply to Electro, who's also played by Jamie Foxx?
Now with Electro,
because that character has always been white. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. He's always been white.
And then they're going to make also, who is it, Deadshot black? In the new...
Played by Willie Smith.
Yeah, played by Will Smith.
Yeah. They changed the race. Yeah.
Well,
Suicide Squad movie?
Along those lines, there's also Heimdall, who was always Norse, but then they made him African American, and I actually didn't mind him in that role because I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
It was just more confusing because he's supposed to be Norse.
Yeah, you see, that's important too, for me, anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're supposed to play a Norse god, you're white. I'm sorry, but that's what Norse are. That's because that's what they are. They're fucking white. It's like casting a black guy to play an elf in the Hobbit movies. You don't do that. Elves are supposed to be like the master race. They're supposed to be these like...
Oh, no.
Yep, he went there. Okay, now this brings up it's the same topic, but a different branch of the same topic.
Mm-hmm.
With Scarlett Johansson playing the character in Ghost in the Shell. It's more or less my own confused mind looking at Hollywood, because Hollywood always tries to do things where it's updated and very multicultural, like, Heimdall being African American and them wanting to use the Spider-Man, which I wouldn't have minded. Mm-hmm. But if they're trying to be of this multicultural mindset, then why is it that whenever they import a Japanese product, the main character automatically becomes white?
I don't know, because I think, I'm not sure, but maybe I've seen this in the Kevin Smith podcast, Hollywood Babylon, where there was this movie, I forgot what that movie is, but they were talking about how there was this African American who was featured prominently in that movie, and whenever they advertise that movie to different countries, he was kept out of the advertisement. This African American actor, he was left out of the poster, left out of the trailers, and he was played down. And they said the reason was because it was that when it comes to an international audience, white actors tend to be the most popular, and thus having white actors in the forefront means a more better box office success.
Oh, money! I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because I guess like I don't know. This may seem horribly this may sound horrible, but I get
Well,
the feeling.
I just made a master race joke. I don't think you're going to say anything there.
I guess the thing is, I guess a lot of countries around the world are not as multicultural as us, where it's like if we see a movie starring Denzel Washington, we wouldn't bat an eye out of that. You know, we'd probably say, oh, okay, this is a good actor. I'll probably see this movie. But then around the country, they look at Denzel Washington and they'll probably skip on it because they're not interested in seeing an African American on the big screen.
Well, that's the ironic part about American filmmaking, is that the USA is the only country that tries to be multicultural. It's like you watch Japanese movies, they bash everyone because they're not Japanese. So,
and they don't believe in political correctness.
You know about the master race.
I mean, have you seen G Gundam?
I know. I can tell you what's pissing me off is what they're doing to Attack on Titan.
Yeah, that's a very interesting one where it's like, I do have a bit of a problem with that, where it's like, yeah, their races do play a part in their character because they're supposed to be European in
it's supposed to be the whole idea of Attack on Titan is that it's such a mixture of people. That's why you've got people like Marco there. That's why you've gotten people like Levi. You know, that is a whole mixture of races. A whole mixture of, not so much races, I should say, but cultures. However, then there's characters like, and I'm going to go to him because Jean is my favorite character in Attack on Titan. I love Jean to death. And the guy who's playing him is Asian. They've completely yellow cast.
yeah.
They've completely yellow cast.
They've yellow washed all the whole cast.
The whole cast. And I'm like, Jean is supposed to be French. That is a huge part of his character in general, is that he's French. And I'm like, and it's like I heard people bitching about like how his hair color wasn't the same or whatever. I didn't really personally care about that. You know, I mean, if they did that, that would have been an added bonus, but I would have been like, that's not the important thing. The important thing is that he's supposed to be fucking French.
And yeah, you're right. It does, like, you were right about the whole multicultural sort of thing where it's like all these different people, I guess not at races, because they're for the most part, they're all white, but they're from different parts of Europe that have all like kind of like huddled together in this like last safe haven for humanity.
Well, granted, half the characters in the show look Asian, but in anime standards. But
yeah, but even though there's technically only one Asian among them, but
technically.
But yeah, with the live action movie and turning them all Japanese, you kind of take away that international sort of that international appeal. But then again, this is Japan. They don't. I guess I don't know. Does Japan care about about international revenue, or do they just care about the money they make in their country?
They care about the money they make in their country. They don't care about if the film offends anyone nationality-wise, because everything sinks except Japan. That is the perfect movie to watch to understand the Japanese mindset of other nations. It's a spoof of submersion of Japan.
Yes. Oh my God.
And, I mean, it's not a great movie by any means, but it does have a lot of funny stuff in it. But that shows you exactly their mindset towards other races. They just don't care.
The Japanese do have a very superiority complex. They really fucking do.
That's why
because they're Japan. They have that right.
What do you expect from a country that's constantly being bombarded by tsunamis and all sorts of weather on that little island of theirs?
No. What are you talking about? Just to get the freaking kaiju that keep showing up there. Like, what the hell?
Imagine
Or
like
Tokyo.
the whole reason
Tokyo.
the whole
don't live in Japan, everybody. Just don't live in Japan.
the whole reason why they make giant robots is just like what do you call it? they're trying to compensate.
Right. No, but they always, in all seriousness, though, and I'm not speaking for them as a whole. I'm not. But, I mean, it's just a part of their culture. It really is. I mean, go back from when Japan really began. It's always been that kind of, we are better.
Now, I think another example, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but...
another example is like, Toho's making another Godzilla movie. They don't want to bow down to the American version.
I guess supposedly going by that quote. Do you guys...
That I have so mixed feelings about about that. It's not even funny.
yeah. Where it's like...
I haven't had that many mixed feelings since Evangelion 3.0.
I think like I think we've had like a comment in that in episode 17 where it's like when one person commented how like Toho they apparently do not have any beef with Godzilla 14 whatsoever. They like 2014 and that they apparently they're doing this whole thing just to, popular...
More money.
More money. They want to popularize...
They're pulling a DC.
Next Godzilla come out next year, right? No, it's going to come out in 2018. Oh!
Impossible!
We must make a Godzilla every year.
But, do you guys remember the recent... I'm not sure if that movie's already out yet, but you guys heard about that live-action Gotcha Man movie?
Yeah, I heard about it.
I own it, but I haven't seen it yet. I feel so stupid now. It's sitting right in the next room.
Did they turn all the characters... no, wait. In the original anime, the original source material, were all the characters Japanese?
No. One of Joe, he was American.
And did they make all the characters Japanese here, or was Joe at least American in the new movie?
Oh, no, they're all Asian.
Oh, okay, so I guess that's a thing then.
And the Katzberg, or Galactor in the U.S. version. This character was, I forget the term they use, like omnigender or something like that, where it was both male and female. So he could either take a more masculine form or female form, but in the live-action movie, it's just full-on female.
Makes me wonder what they do if they ever made a live-action Mazinger Z movie and what they do with Baron Ashura. But, yeah...
Well, granted, to kind of go somewhat against that, when they were writing the first Alien movie, they made all the characters...
males.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. Did they make them all males?
Yeah.
Or did they leave them gender neutral?
Well, I don't know, because I remember there was like some sort of a, not really controversy, but some sort of I guess a complaint where it seemed like there was some sort of homosexual undertones. Because there's a scene where the character...
I'm just going by the fucking making of the movie, that awesome 3-hour documentary that's on the Blu-rays of that, of the making of the movie, and they said that they left a lot of they never referred to any of the characters as he or she. They just referred to them by their name.
They did what Futurama did, and they called everyone Shlee.
Now, of course, not that there's anything wrong with the homosexual undertones, I'll tell you that, but, I just thought that was cool that they were able to leave us. With the case of Ripley they always pictured a guy, and then they wound up, I think Ridley Scott wound up getting a girl for that reason. And it's like, what would Alien be without Ripley, Without fucking Sigourney Weaver. I mean...
No, I'm trying to remember, when was the last time they ever tried to, like, change a gender, completely change a gender in an adaptation?
RoboCop.
With Thor count?
Oh, yeah! Well,
Thor,
we'll get
yeah.
to Thor, we'll get to Thor, but yeah, I remember with RoboCop they turned Officer Lewis from a white woman to a black man for no reason whatsoever.
Oh, which brings up a good question that's been on my mind since I watched that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, in modern TV shows and movies and what have you, cops, they always team up a black cop and a white cop. Now, do they do this because of the viewers, or do they do this because cops in some parts of the country are known as black and whites?
I don't know. I assume that maybe they turned Lewis into for viewers, like, you know, I guess they probably maybe they looked at the original RoboCop as like, you know what, there's not enough black people in this movie. Even
the
though,
chief was black and he was awesome.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, but like they turned the chief into a bad guy in this movie, I think. And there's like, you know, we need at least one good black guy, and like let's take Officer Lewis, turn her into a black man. Now, if she was a black woman, I'd be okay with that. But the fact that it changed her gender, it's like she's one of the few like badass, like super badass female characters we have in cinemas, at least like in pop culture. And just it seems wrong to just take that away from the fans.
They couldn't make her a black woman.
I know, that's what I'm thinking too. Maybe they thought that they thought that modern audiences wouldn't believe in a tough, badass female cop, but they would if it was a black guy.
Even though that's the kind of character they have in all their movies.
Yeah.
Every movie has a token Ripley character.
Do they? Like, I don't know, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Eon Flux, Ultraviolet, the chick Kate from the Thing prequel, who is Ripley on Earth.
Yeah. I remember, yeah, you're right, with the point that David made, where like they made this big controversy, not big controversy, but Marvel made this big announcement where it's like, Thor's a woman now, even though technically it was a different character who was going by the title of Thor. And
now that bugged me.
Yeah,
that personally bugged me, because I'm not a big Norse mythology kind of guy.
Yeah.
But Thor is a guy. Thor is a male.
Yeah, like
he is a god, not a goddess. He is a god.
Yeah, it seems wrong. Like I mentioned, like these are characters. Like when you mess with a character that's been around for a long time and has such a long legacy behind them, it seems a bit wrong to go ahead and change it, especially when it seems so obvious that they're doing this just to gain readers. Now, I felt like they kind of did this right with Ultimate Spider-Man, where there's this alternate universe in Marvel Comics called the Ultimate Marvel Universe, which was started in, I believe, 2000 or 2001, where it's kind of like it's like rebooting the Marvel Universe without actually rebooting it. It's another universe, and it was a way for new fans to get into comics without having to deal with the classic Marvel Universe, which is surprisingly has still been going on for this long without any sort of reboot whatsoever. And in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, writers are able to get away with stuff that they couldn't in the mainstream universe, and so they killed off Spider-Man, and he has a successor in the form of Miles Morales, a half black, half Latino Spider-Man who takes up the mantle after Peter Parker died. And I feel like this was done a lot better. I mean, when they advertised this, when Miles Morales first came into being, it's like, oh my god, Spider-Man is black now, and everyone was like typing that headline over and over, even though it's like, come on guys, it's not, they're not turning
not that big of a deal.
They're not turning him black. First off, it's not even in the mainstream comics. Second, this isn't even like Peter Parker, you know, he's dead, this is a different individual. And that's what I like about that, where it's like, this is a new character who happens to be of a different race, and he's going through his own trials and tribulations, separate from Peter Parker. And they did this again in the comics.
I can.
What were you going to say, Adam?
No, go ahead and finish, Andres.
Okay, they did this again recently in the mainstream comics. There's this woman, there's this female super heroine called Miss Marvel, and Miss Marvel, she's kind of like the Marvel equivalent of Wonder Woman, and she recently became the new Captain Marvel. So it's kind of interesting to see Miss Marvel, who is like the female version of Captain Marvel, and now she herself has become Captain Marvel. And so now
there's only one version of Captain Marvel, and that's the one before DC.
did the Marvel Captain Marvel happen before the Shazam Captain Marvel?
That totally just went right over my fucking head.
Okay, so the Captain Marvel is now known as Shazam because of some legality bullshit.
Yeah.
Started out owned by a different company that was outselling Superman.
Right.
And DC was like, oh, well, we've got to get the rights to this guy, and they couldn't for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did manage to get the rights.
Yeah,
so the pre-DC Captain Marvel and the first DC incarnation of him are perfect. This whole New 52 bullshit, no.
Like
where he's just called Shazam,
and he has like a weird, stupid little hoodie over his like muscular body. but anyway,
Marvel or Shazam.
I don't hate. I'm staying quiet because I don't hate the New 52 continuity.
Blaspheme!
Well, he's
you
the only
blaspheme!
thing I hate about it.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't even read it. Well, the
only reason why I'm saying that is because I love the whole Flash thing so much. But
wait, you mean Flashpoint?
Yeah.
Oh, that was before the New 52. That was like
no, I thought that was considered 52.
Well, that was the thing that led to the creation of the New 52 universe because it involved time travel, where the Flash was able to turn the timeline back to normal, sort of, and that resulted in the New 52.
Oh. Well, I can tell you they ruined Joker.
Oh, yeah, faceless Joker, man. But anyways, what I brought up Miss Marvel because with Miss Marvel turning into Captain Marvel, there's a new Miss Marvel, and she is of I believe she's Middle Eastern, and I think fans have grown. I think generally fans have grown to like her because, just like with Miles Morales, he was like, he was a really interesting character. They written her as a great character, and that's a way of again, they just, rather than completely changing the race, they just invented a new individual that carried on that mantle.
Well, I'm the racist one of the bunch, I guess.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, sure,
according
David.
To Facebook.
Only if it's racist.
Only if it's racist. I don't think it matters, the whole gender or race swap, but if it's a character that is for example, Wonder Woman, you can't just change it to a male character out of the blue.
Oh, right, especially since she's one of the most popular female characters in fiction.
Right. The thing is, with Spider-Man and Batman, you can get away with because those characters are symbols, like The Dark Knight Rises says.
You really think so?
I can't picture a black Bruce Wayne.
It can be anybody.
I'm not sure because I think.
So to be honest, I thought Bruce Wayne was black in what was it? Under the Red Hood for a while. Oh. He's really dark in that movie.
Hey, you want to talk about people who look really dark in animation? Lex Luthor from Superman the Animated Series.
Yes.
But
how the hell did he go from being an old white guy to a young bald man?
Oh,
I personally like the compromise.
Jesse Eisenberg?
I like the compromise. I like the compromise of old bald guy.
I would disagree with you, David. I don't know, because with someone like Spider-Man, he kind of embodies that the stereotypical white, nerdy, scrawny kid who becomes the most powerful person he's ever beyond his wildest dreams, and I don't know. It's
I think that interpretation fits for the character of Peter Parker, where he kind of achieves something greater than himself. But I'm talking about the character Spider-Man, because in some ways Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same characters, but at the same time you separate them, kind of how you.
Well, yeah, that is kind of right.
Batman.
Batman and Bruce Wayne are definitely two different people.
You're right. I guess I don't know. If they don't call him Peter Parker and they make a new character and turn that into Spider-Man, I could sort of see with that. But then again, look what happened to Catwoman. Now they made Catwoman black when the 2004 Halle Berry movie, but the problem was that this new character that they created, her name was Patience. She was nothing like Catwoman, and she was a brand new character, a new interpretation of Catwoman, and she was one that was far inferior to what came before. Whereas you had a previous black Catwoman, I believe, in the Adam West series, and I think people gravitated to her much more than they did with Halle Berry. So I guess you could get away with making a version of a character that's not specifically that character. Like I don't know, like, could you make a Batman movie without Bruce Wayne? Like if Bruce Wayne did not even existed in the adaptation, so in the theoretical or hypothetical adaptation, would you be able to get away with that?
They kind of did with Batman Beyond.
But no, but Batman did exist in that universe.
Yeah.
But could you make...
Well, I mean, you kind of have to have Batman in that universe because he's like the thing that the person that started it all. Kind of like you can't make a Godzilla movie without Godzilla.
Oh, I have a good one.
Yeah.
What is her name? Waller, Amanda Waller.
Uh-huh.
Is she a fat black woman, or is she a skinny black woman, or is she a fat white woman, or is she because that one I've seen many interpretaers of all of those. Which I have to say, as much as I don't like Smallville, Pam Grier, as I think that's how you pronounce her last name. But anyways, the girl from Jackie Brown as Amanda Waller was awesome.
Well, yeah, she was Pam Grier. Of course she was.
I can't tell if Jacob is being sarcastic towards me or not.
No, I like her. She's one of the only people I liked in the Mars Attacks movie.
She's in Mars. Yes, she is. She's in Mars Attack. Oh my God, I love that movie. Jacob. Jacob.
Yes.
How can you not like that movie?
No. I like the movie. I hate the human characters except her and her husband. They're the only two people that have brains.
You're supposed to not care about any of them.
But they made me like those two.
But it's like you're not supposed to care about any of them.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the entire movie, I love the way they did
it's
the
fucking genius.
No, it's... Okay, I've actually got a, ridiculously long Mars Attacks retrospective I'm working on. And I actually get into the movie, but I'm going to say right now that my dad and I have the same opinion of the characters in this movie. The movie is basically a catalog of people who should not breed. Except those two.
What? I'm turning into Trump.
Well, anyways, like Charlton Heston, what do you think of this about all this? It's a madhouse.
No judging. No judging of Jacob Baker. No judging of Jacob Baker. I'm biting my tongue. No judging.
No,
I think Jacob is just tempting Adam to judge.
No,
on purpose.
No, here's the thing. I'm actually trying not to be judgmental at this point because I know that the conversation we're going to have later is going to piss Adam off severely.
Well, let's see. I guess I think I came up with a couple more examples. Remember from the Daredevil movie where they made the Kingpin black and he was played by Michael Clark Duncan?
No,
I like Michael Clark Duncan, but I mean, really, who on earth could you get to play that role?
I don't know, because with the
Orson Welles.
Yes, Orson Welles. Yes. So, Daredevil, we meet again. You've come to. Do you know why they call this place Hell's Kitchen? Do you? Because I eat here a lot. We've both been buried alive, my friend. By the Hell's Kitchen, and you by the radioactive waste that has blinded you. Yes.
I wonder if Gordon Ramsay could do with that too, because it said Hell's Kitchen.
Well, like with the Kingpin, I've always imagined him as like that stereotypical, like that rich, fat white kid. The rich, like that rich, like upper class, not I'm not sure about his origin, but when I see him, he's like that like upper class rich white guy that's like in control of everything. He's like something out of like Sin City, which ironically, you know, Frank Miller also worked on along with Daredevil. But it's like, you know, that the rich, powerful white guy who is in charge of like that whole crime, that whole like he's like the center of all the crime in that particular area. And to turn him black kind of like changes that whole perception of the character.
I actually have a really good example of, you know, a character being ambiguous and then they could do whatever they wanted with him. The main protagonist in George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead is black.
Yeah.
And he wrote the script not knowing that that guy was going to be black. The guy to play him was going to be black.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he just threw the guy in there because he said, I'd be willing to play in this movie. And George A. Romero was like, cool! And said, you can play this guy. And
well, didn't he get the role because he was the best actor?
Probably. But George, the thing here is, George Romero didn't write that character to be black. And a black guy just happened to play it, and now it's a very iconic role in the African-American community. Because, you know, I'm clearly speaking for the African-American community here.
Another major race change I think I remember was Nick Fury, where he was white in the original comics, and then they made him black into the in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, and they based the live-action Samuel L. Jackson version off of the Ultimate Marvel Universe, who was based off of Samuel L. Jackson, so it all comes round.
I don't mind the fact that they went with the Ultimate Marvel version. I don't like the fact that they didn't give him his freaking cigar, like Dum Dum Dugan.
Yeah.
Dum Dum Dugan always had a cigar in his mouth, and in the movie, no cigar.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I think like a lot less characters smoke on screen now, unless it's like
no characters smoke on screen in a Marvel movie.
Unless it's like a noir piece, like unless you're making like a period
people
piece,
aren't supposed. It's very frowned upon people smoking in film now, or it's like
smoking.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't care. In fact, this just makes me want to light up a cigarette.
Yeah, it's like it's so funny because that's actually a huge part of my new movie, Which Way They Walk. The first half there's no one smoking, and the second half everyone's smoking. That's actually a huge note that I wrote down in the director's log.
Yeah.
Where I
okay,
said,
just because you're doing that, I'm so watching your movie.
Everyone fucking, and that's what I asked during the first major pre-production meeting where everyone sat down, where all the actors sat down, and I was telling them who they're going to play and everything.
Yeah.
I said, now tell me who has a problem with smoking. Either pretend smoking or smelling smoke or anything. And I'm looking around, like a couple people raised their hands, and I said, get out.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say get out. I warned
Get
them.
out.
I warned them specifically what the second half of the movie is going to be like. It's going to be like, yeah, we're going to buy so many cigarettes. That's where 90% of the budget of this movie is going to go. We're all gonna leave, and we're gonna all like talk like this the entire time.
You're gonna sound like the sign my ass guy.
Oh.
You want
Nothing find me another pack of
lose my
cigarettes.
wonderful voice. For that, I want you to sign my ass.
You sign my ass.
I remember one race change that a lot of people had problems with was the Mandarin from the recent Iron Man 3.
Before you go any further, they did it's on, I can't remember what Blu-ray it's on. They did a Marvel one-shot, which is a series of like short movies.
Right.
And they actually pointed out that they took the name of the Mandarin for this character because they didn't think he existed.
Yeah.
And that's the point of that one-shot, is that it's the Mandarin trying to kill off this guy.
Trying to kill off Ben Kingsley?
Ben Kingsley's character, yeah.
Ah, that's so awesome.
So they themselves have stated that he is not the real Mandarin. There is another one who is the real one.
Yeah. But like a lot of people were upset that they changed the Mandarin, but then there are other people who are saying, oh, the Mandarin's too racist. And then other people was like, oh, well, he's not racist if you think about it. Just look at, like, take Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China and just have him fight Iron Man.
Oh, I have another good example. Khan, from Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, he was Mexican.
Here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. It's like, people pulled the racist card on us Trekkies. They did. When we said Benedict Cumberbatch was great, but he wasn't Khan at all.
Yeah. He's not Ricardo Montalban.
He's not, because here's the problem. If they rebooted that universe, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
We would have been like, okay, he's the new Khan. All right. But here's the thing. This isn't a rebooted universe to a certain point because of the whole time travel thing. It's only a rebooted universe after the time travel thing, and in Star Trek continuities, the eugenics wars happened in the 1990s, and the Botany Bay was shot in space in the 1990s. So then Khan would still be Khan. Khan would be Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah, but the problem there is
a really white British guy.
The problem there, though, is that you would need someone of the same nationality as Ricardo Montalban, who looks like Ricardo Montalban, to play that character properly. And
We wouldn't have cared, I don't think, anywhere near as much if they got at least the nationality right. If he was a really buff, like
well,
Mexican, I guess.
If he was to play Khan before Cumberbatch.
That would have been okay.
Now,
why not? I think that would have been okay.
Now, going a little way back in terms of like changing the character's race, do you remember when not Two-Face, but Harvey Dent, he was played by Billy D. Williams in Tim Burton's Batman?
That never bugged me.
Yeah, strangely never bugged me too, only because I love Billy D. Williams himself.
That's probably why that had something to do with it, yeah.
Well, not only was he played by Billy D. Williams, he was also not really that big of a character in the comics at that point.
Let's see. Did Two-Face ever appear in the Adam West series?
No, he wasn't a thing until like the 90s, I believe.
I see. Yeah, I guess like it wasn't until like he became. I guess it wasn't until like the two-parter in the animated series that he became like I guess more well known. And then,
that's what they should do for the next Batman movie. Just make that live action. You don't even need Batman. Just have that story of Harvey Two-Face. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now I wonder, like, what would have happened? Like, how would they have pulled off like Billy D. Williams Two-Face had they gone with him instead of had he returned instead of retconning him into Tommy Lee Jones doing Joker Light.
He hung out with Michael Jackson, and as Michael Jackson turned white, so did he.
Whoa.
They both were like, hey, let's bleach ourselves. This will be awesome. Okay.
I'm Billy D. Williams. This doesn't look right at all. Hey, Batman. Care to flip a coin? I'm Billy D. Williams, playing Two-Face. Welcome to the cool side of Gotham. I don't know how that counts for a Billy D. Williams impression, but I don't know. Let's see. I guess... Any other examples that we can think of?
I can tell you a couple one that I really kind of want to talk about just because I am the one of the group.
Yeah. You are the
changing a character's sexual orientation. That has happened. There's two examples that come to mind.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Well, okay, now I have three that came to mind because of that. I totally forgot about Green Lantern. But no, there's two examples. One, in the Mass Effect trilogy, there was a character named Kane Malenko, who I loved anyways. And in Mass Effect 1, they were going to make him gay. Or they were going to make him bi, more specifically, in the first one. And then, at the last second, BioWare said no. At the last second. And they cut out the male romance option, since Mass Effect is an RPG. And then they brought it back with Mass Effect 3. EA actually made them bring it back for Mass Effect 3. And a lot of people, myself included for a little bit, was like, that's not Kane Malenko. just because of comments that he's made throughout the rest of the series, or the rest of the trilogy. And then there's another character named Sonny, and you guys are going to laugh, but it's Sonny from... It's Will and Sonny. Will and Sonny from... was it Days of Our Lives? I remember this being thrown up at me. I think Jacob Spencer told me about it. And there's a character, it's either Will or Sonny, and I can't remember, but there's this one character who's apparently was like a straight as straight can be, and then all of a sudden at like the last second they just suddenly changed him overnight into being a rather flamboyantly gay guy. And I'm like, you see, that's just making them gay for the sake of making them gay. It doesn't really work. I mean, if it's done well, like they wound up doing with Caden's character, that's wonderful. But you can't just do that. You can't just take an established character, because Days of Our Lives have been forever. It's been going on forever, and suddenly overnight change them, you know? And it just doesn't work. That's just bad writing.
That's the same feelings I had for the How I Met Your Mother ending.
They changed the character's sexual orientation?
No!
They wound up changing the main guys.
No. Adam's feelings about, you can't change that because of this and that, because of or establishments.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's kind of like the same feelings I have for the How I Met Your Mother ending. Oh, we're not talking about that.
Speaking of show endings, were you also going to bring up Legend of Korra, Adam?
Spoilers!
That was so beautiful.
Like with
that ending. Oh, that was so beautiful.
Now, I guess I'm assuming you would say that ending that was kind of built upon for like the last 2 seasons.
That was really built upon in the last 2 seasons. Yeah, it was really building up those last 2 seasons. And what was clever about that was they were foreshadowing it, and it's official. It's not just fanism anymore. The two
creators,
the guys who created it,
they were planning it from the beginning. Yeah.
Or they were planning something like it from the beginning, and it kind of evolved into this, and they felt it was the most natural course for it. And I thought it was beautifully well done because of how, from the course of season 1 to season 4, you see that change in Korra. And you see that change in Asami. And it worked so perfectly to the end where they just kind of met. And it just worked so fucking well. It worked so well because you see this, going in retrospective, you wind up reflecting on it and seeing this kind of overarching thing of how they both connected and how they both split apart and then how they've come back together because of certain things. And it just worked. It clicked together so well. I personally don't see... I have a hard time seeing the argument with some of the fans of Korra saying like, "Oh, this makes no sense. Why the fuck did this happen?" I personally don't. I personally don't understand that at all because I'm like, did you watch at least season 3 and season 4? Did you not see what was going on there?
Yeah. And
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to turn this...
Such a good ending. Oh, that was such a good ending.
I don't want to turn this into a tangent, but I just have to ask, I'm not sure, have there been a lot of bisexual characters in fiction, or at least in popular fiction?
Popular fiction?
Because it seems like there's only, it's only one way or the other.
Sorcerer Hunters,
James Bond? Not really. Selena Kyle?
Selena. See, I'm blanking out. Really?
Catwoman.
What? Did she have a relationship with someone?
Heavily hinted on. Depends on which continuity, too.
But well, of course, there's always the question about Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Well, you gotta wonder if that sort of thing was asked by, like, I guess the male audience as opposed to like people as a whole.
That was definitely male. That was definitely fan service.
Yeah. I guess like when you have that sort of thing, it's like you gotta really wonder, like, you gotta hope, like, if a character does turn out to be homosexual or bisexual. You gotta hope that it's for like a general. It's like it's not for a fan servicey sort of thing. Is basically what I'm saying. Yeah, but
well, the key thing in any of this and all of this in general is that it needs to make sense. The reason why you're changing a race or a gender or an orientation or anything is it just in the end has to make sense.
Yeah.
And if it's done well, it's done well. If it's done poorly, like like that fucking Catwoman movie, then it fucking sucks. You know, it all depends on basically if they do it right or not.
Okay.
To me, that's what it comes down to.
Seems like a very logical point to end this conversation. But David and Jacob, do either of you have final thoughts on this subject?
We drifted into so many different subsubjects. I forgot where we're at.
Well, basically,
I was actually going to try and taper back to the female Thor at some point, but we'll move on.
All right then. Well, that was our section was our first section for this episode of Shuwatch Super Dynamic Ultra Force Go, and we'll see you guys after the break.
Unless you stop and
decide you've had enough of this after a year.
Had enough of this after a year and said, you know what, fuck these guys. I don't want to listen to them anymore. In which case, it's totally up to you. You know, you can totally leave and do your own shit. I guess you just won't be able to hear our awesomeness anymore.
All right. Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to the second section of Shuwatch Super Dynamic Ultra Force Go. And here I present to you Adam's section, where Adam, what will we be talking about this time around?
Well, normally I start off with saying, "Hello, people of the internet. This is Adam's section of Shuwatch, where you'll spend the next 30 to 45 minutes of your lives. Here I am God, and there is no turning back." Unless, of course, you shut off the video, in which case you kind of do turn back. However, no, my section, I recently got done watching the infamous movie Cannibal Holocaust, which, do watch my review, which I'm currently uploading. Do watch my review for that movie. It's actually my favorite review I've done. That's actually my favorite review I've done since 55 Days of Peking. Considering the fact it was completely improvised, too. That was another funny thing. However, I open up that video with the question, and I say, when does a director go too far? And that is what I want to ask you guys here on this wonderful... wanted to ask you here on this section of Shuwatch. I wanted to ask you guys, when do you believe a director goes too far? Be it what he shows on screen, be it the behind-the-scenes story, be it... anything where you think a director just simply gets too involved with their movie.
I don't know. I guess, I understand that when it comes to filmmaking, I know the writer, he has an idea in the script, and he has an idea for the story, and makes a script out of that. Or no, there's someone who makes, an outline, someone who makes a treatment, and then that person, the writer, makes a full-on script based on his vision of the treatment, and then it's the director's job to interpret that writer's script into what it is, and then it's kind of like the actor's idea to interpret what they read off the script and from the director's instructions, and interpret that into a performance. And so it's kind of like a chain of people interpreting other people's ideas. But I guess a general idea is when a director goes too far is, I guess if they, I always assume that a director is supposed to follow I guess the ideas built upon the script, his interpretation built upon the script that is given to him. But if he ends up changing the script himself, that's sort of a disrespect to the story that the writer, has spent so many hours on making that script in the first place. So I guess he would go too far. A director would go too far if he were to end up taking too much control over the entire production rather than simply pointing it in the right direction. I guess another idea would be is respect, where if he actually has some respect for the people around him, and that way he would have a really good relationship with the people that he's working with. So for me, I guess it's a very background sort of behind the scenes sort of thing.
Okay, first off, I'm going to point to the director, and I cannot remember the guy's name. He did The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. Damn it, because I just literally had that. I was thinking about this guy before I came back to do this.
All right, well, regardless of what his name is, he did some things to get shots that a director should not do. Whenever Linda Blair was strapped down to the thing that would toss her up and down, he told her that it was going to be set on a specific setting. But then he went behind the stage and cranked it up all the way. And because of that, she has back problems ever since that. Mm-hmm. And that is way too far, because that's assaulting the actor. And also the priest at the end of the movie, in order for him to have the emotional rage that he had, he took the actor to the side and was like, "Do you trust me as a director?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he just punches the guy in the face. And that's why he's shaking in that scene, is that he's super pissed off at the director. And they had to film him from one side because he had a black eye. That, to me, is too big of an extreme in order to get a reaction from your actors.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Wow, actually, I didn't know about that. I knew about the Linda Blair thing. I didn't know about that.
That's
Oh my.
Yes.
Yeah, full on bodily harm, physical or mental harm of any sort. That's definitely an example
Now,
of too
however,
extreme.
I do have to kind of counter that saying if the actor is willing for it to happen, then it's not going too far.
Yeah, but he
Like if
didn't know it was
the
coming.
actor's I know, but like there's an example in the remake to Dawn of the Dead. Zack Snyder said to Spoli, "We'll get a double for you to be slammed into the thing so you don't get hurt at all. We'll get a double thing so you don't get hurt. We'll have somebody who is paid to do this do it for you." And she said, "No, I won't look as good." And so she actually threw herself into the bathtub, like full on threw herself, hurt herself in the process horribly into the bathtub just to get that shot done. And I'm just saying that because that's an example of an actor willing to go to that extreme.
No, if it's on the behalf of the actor, then yeah, fine. I mean, that's on them. But we're talking about directors going too far. And this guy did.
Yeah. And the reason why I brought it up in the Cannibal Holocaust review is because I honestly think that there is a double meaning behind the movie Cannibal Holocaust. That's literally the point of the movie, is when do directors go too far? Because if you ever watch the second half of the movie is just how horrible these director people are to the cannibals in the movie.
You mean like the fictional director of
The fictional director of the fictional documentary movie at the end of the film. Because the first half of the film is about a professor finding that footage and getting his hand on the footage. The second half of the film is him watching the footage. Raw. And that's what I think comes up, is that you find out how horrible and fucked up these fake filmmakers are who went there to make a documentary. You find out how horrible and fucked up they are and just what they did to get certain shots and what they did to people just to make it look good. That it honestly makes me ask, was the director saying, when does a director go too far in his movies? Because if we look at the entire film, nothing in the movie's fake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, it certainly is fake to a certain extent, but like when somebody's eating guts, they're real guts. When somebody's getting split in two, yeah, there's something there that's really getting split in two. When an animal is getting hurt, an actual animal is getting hurt. Mm-hmm. The images in that film are so disturbing and are so screwed up. I highly do. To get my full opinion on the film, the video is about 44 minutes. It's 41 minutes. Do go watch my review for Cannibal Holocaust. But it just made me ask, when does the director go too far? That's the one question I kept asking while watching the entire fucking film. And again, that's why I brought it up here, because he had all these grotesque images in here. I'm like, there's a couple of scenes where I'm like, that's too much. That is too much. Like, there's a scene where he slits this, the turtle scene. The turtle scene is what everyone talks about, where they legitimately kill a turtle on camera. An actual turtle. Like, the turtle was alive, and they actually showed them cutting off its head and everything like that. And a part of me was like, why is that there? It's like, why? Granted, this is before PETA. This was before, the whole animal protection thing came about. But it's like, really? They're fucking killing these things in this film, And that's when I think the director went too far. But then at the same time, I got to ask, but was that the point? But I don't know. Another example of it, I think, a director going too far is Patrick Galvin. If you're listening, which I don't know if you listen to this one or not, but you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. Michael Cimino, when he was directing Heaven's Gates, which is widely considered the biggest bomb ever, financial bomb ever, mm-hmm. would often do 40 takes per shot. 40 takes. Why? 40 takes. Holy shit.
You gotta wonder how long those takes lasted each one. Was it like a full-on conversation that he decided to have it be repeated like 40 times?
I'm gonna there's one scene where the main character, he's drunk in bed and he's just simply swiping a whip around the room.
Yeah.
And that scene took 67 takes, and it took them all day just to get that one shot. And it's only in the movie for, I'm not kidding, 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
And was this during, at this point, had digital filmmaking already been made, or was he actually...
No, it was film.
Film, so
he was
wasting so many hours worth of film on that stupid scene.
That's not
According
so much
to him,
a
he
director
wasn't
going.
wasted.
That's not so much a director going too far. That's a director being retarded.
Or also kind of...
No, I personally think that's a director going too far more than being retarded, because that is I don't think Michael Cimino was necessarily retarded making this movie. He just was so in love with his movie that he wanted it to be absolutely perfect.
It also reminds me of this this movie. I forgot. It was Waterworld. I don't know who the director was, but I think like they built like practical sets in the middle of the ocean as opposed to like on a set. And because of the weather and because of the condition of the sets, those sets would always sink to the bottom of the ocean. So they have to spend more money building more sets that would also sink. So the reason why that movie was as expensive as it was because they were constantly having to rebuild those sets and place them out in the middle of the ocean. So I guess another reason of another point of how a director can go too far if they're just being absolutely reckless with their in their minds an unlimited flow of cash.
Well, then you'd have to go against Francis Ford Coppola on Apocalypse Now, and Apocalypse Now is a fucking masterpiece. But look at the production of that.
Yeah, I guess
So I guess like everything in film, it's not black and white.
Right, I guess. 'Cause...
Everything in this area is not black and white. But, I mean, then again, there's also things like Alfred Hitchcock telling Tippi Hedren on The Birds that they're going to be all a bunch of fake birds up in that room.
Uh-huh.
When she goes upstairs, and then all of a sudden, surprise, when they rolled the camera, they were all fucking real birds.
Yeah. Or like, wasn't that scene when the chest burster from the first Aliens, like, the people didn't tell, like, the director didn't tell any of the actors what was actually going to happen to the guy who was going to have it?
Yeah, he just talked to the cameraman. Ridley Scott just talked to the cameraman.
And of course, the guy who the chest was about to burst out of.
Yeah, John Hurt.
Yeah, you can't hide it from that guy.
Yeah, he was like, just roll the cameras. And so that's what they did. But, that's, again, not physical body harm, though. No, that was just, oh my god! That was just trying to get a reaction.
I remember there's the second girl.
More than anything.
I remember there was the second girl who wasn't Ripley. I just remember she was like, oh god! You could see her, like, looking at the production people, like, off screen.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen the cameramen's faces filming that. I would have loved to have seen them. Were they laughing? Were they just like in horror because they didn't really know what was going to happen, or were they just like having the time of life seeing all these people fucking freak out?
Another example was, do you remember the incident that happened during the filming of Twilight Zone the movie?
No.
Okay, so apparently there was...
the helicopter?
Yeah, the helicopter crash that killed Vic Morrow and two child actors, where I think John Landis, he did not follow the proper child labor laws, where I think they were filming this scene in the middle of the night, and they weren't allowed to have children, at that time of the day, be on the set, and so he kind of told people, like the people who were working on the film, not to let the firefighters know, not to let like the safety people know that he was having children aboard that helicopter during filming that scene. And I believe it was testified where the person, there's this one person who was checking out the safety of the helicopter, and he told personally, according to him, this witness, he told John Landis personally, dude, it's not safe. This helicopter's not safe. There's a good chance that something can terribly go wrong. And John Landis said, no, we'll continue this. And so John Landis made this huge, enormous risk, like endangering the lives of these children and the people aboard this helicopter, despite, like child labor laws and the fact that, not everything's as it should be on that helicopter. And as a result, during the filming of that scene, the helicopter crashed, injuring 6 people and killing those three actors.
Vic Morrow was killed.
Yeah, Vic Morrow was killed along with those 2 children. And I think John Landis was tried for murder, and I think he got off. I don't know what he did, but he was acquitted, I believe. So yeah.
Wow. Which makes me now really not like John Landis, because he has openly stated many times that he hates people who are even remotely against child labor laws, and then he does this.
Yeah. Well, you can read the. I know Wikipedia. A lot of people don't like Wikipedia, but you can check out the Wikipedia page for the Twilight Zone tragedy. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, okay.
However, yeah, that is definitely a director going too far right there. To the fucking most extreme, because at least in Cannibal Holocaust, nobody actually really died. Though he got tried for murder.
Yeah.
Because apparently Italy, the Italian authorities thought that, granted, if you ever watch the movie, which I do actually recommend the movie, even though you would hate it, Andres, just for the animal cruelty, and I'm not saying that to be sarcastic at all. I can legitimately understand why you'd hate the movie for it.
It's just something I've always found uncomfortable.
Oh, it's definitely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially when they shoot the pig.
But I mean, you saw how I react. Everyone knows how I reacted when they were shooting those rats in Food of the Gods.
Right.
You're like, oh no,
and that I'm a racist towards rats because I think they all look alike. But
you're like the main characters from that comic book Mouse, where like the Nazis are cats and the mice are Jews.
Right. Oh my god. But no, I do recommend that. But yeah, the director was put on trial for murder. Because of, they actually thought it was so, their death scenes at the end of the movie were so realistic, and they are realistic, that they actually thought they died. And that, do you know that famous image?
With that stick up the person.
The girl who's impaled. Yeah. That was another reason why why they were tried. Which honestly, I love how they did that. They just sat her on a unicycle pole. And there was a seat there.
Yeah.
And they just dug the wheel into the ground so it could just sit there, and they dressed it up to look like a stick. And they found a stick that would fit in her mouth, and she just held it while they put like all the... First off, that was real blood, but which makes me wonder where they got that from.
Like, was it her blood?
I don't know, but it was real blood. But blood. They put it all over. They put it all over her.
Yeah. And
the thing was, she was willing to do it. She was like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
Sure, totally. I'm not.
But they had to go in because he made all the people who played the actors, or all the people that played the documentary people.
Yeah.
He made all of them sign something that said they kind of disappear for a year. They wouldn't be in anything else for a year.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, because they understood what the movie was going to do.
Right.
And it had to make them look like they were dead, and it was supposed to be as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
And so their disappearance, with the release of the movie, made the fucking authorities actually think that he murdered them. That actual cannibals ate them.
That's not going too far. That's genius. I applaud him.
No, you'll understand what I mean, Jacob, if you just fucking watch the movie. But the movie's genius. I genuinely like the movie. The movie's actually really freaking good. It's beautifully structured. Beautifully structured. I actually compared it to District 9.
It reminds me of this marketing tactic that they made for the Blair Witch Project, where I think they kind of did a similar thing where you didn't see the actors who played those kids. They kind of like stay out of the public spotlight, making everyone think that those children actually existed thanks to that viral marketing. Except I think those children not children, though they're like college students, I think. They actually like appeared on talk shows like I think a week or so before the movie actually came out for like interviews.
Wow.
Okay, sorry to switch gears here for a second, but speaking of like publicity ploys and stuff like that, okay, the whole interview, now the whole Korea doing like the whole, don't show this movie or we'll bomb the theaters.
Yeah, which does remind me.
I believe.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that was just a publicity ploy to make sure that the money got as much money as it could. Because the movie was still released. It made more money than it probably would have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe that was just publicity. I mean, Korea's crazy enough that they would try something like that, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was them.
A good part of me kind of believes in that as well, but then another thing is, like, with the Sony hack, Sony lost a lot of information that they did not want they did not want it out there in the public. They did not want their, like, dirty laundry and celebrities, like, social security numbers out there and all that sort of stuff. It was such a huge loss for Sony that I doubt that anyone there, like that North Korea thing, they would be willing to pretend to create this entity to put the blame on a huge leak such as that.
Yeah, but that's the genius of it, is it's the timing. See, because of the Sony hack, people were more convinced that this could have actually happened.
It's I don't know. It's like, it's such a crazy story that I feel like you can make a movie based on the events of this particular movie.
And that's probably what they were going for.
Yeah. That was a strange
Oh my
thing.
god.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the footage.
What footage?
From Cannibal Holocaust?
Twilight
No,
Zone?
from the Twilight Zone accident.
Oh yeah, like I don't know. I think,
Holy shit.
like, I forgot, was the crash scene actually kept in the movie itself?
No, they
No,
cut
it
it
was
out.
cut off as he was being taken away to the POW camp.
Oh, okay.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, and what's sad is that he
awful.
directed, like, my second favorite movie of all time, The American Werewolf in London.
I thought you were going to say Blues Brothers. I was going to be like, yeah! Oh,
Actually, that's my brother's favorite movie.
And that's,
I love
I think
Blues
that
Brothers.
Blues Brothers is definitely within my top 5. I think that may be my number, I want to say 6th or 7th favorite movie of all time. It's definitely my favorite comedy. And I think that was the movie that got me into wanting to learn how to play the saxophone in middle school and high school because of the jazz music.
I always wanted to play the violin.
Oh, that's a really classy and very wonderful instrument.
Wow, that got off topic.
yeah, that did. Wow.
Sorry for instigating that one.
Let's see what we're talking about. Like, directors that went too far, right? Now, how much creative control did what's his name, like Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer on those, like, god awful parody movies? Everything they do, they have gone too far in the name of comedy.
In the name of comedy?
In the name of filmmaking in general.
Anytime a director has looked at something and went, I'm going to make a movie with that title, but it's not going to be anything like it. Like Dragon Ball Evolution.
But then again, I
Because
don't
the
know.
director has the ultimate say over what the film is.
Could be, but then...
And if
Go ahead.
well, if the director makes a decision that they know is going to piss off everyone, and they still do it, that's going too far.
That's South Park, so I'm not saying anything about that. I actually encourage that kind of attitude.
But then again, like, I've always seen, like, you tend to have, like, those kind of directors where I kind of see them as, like, yes man directors, where they just do what they're told to do without any sort of questioning whatsoever. That's how I see the director of the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where even though Michael Bay only produced the movie, you can tell he still had creative control over it, given that he was giving his money to the project. And they got the Clash of the Titans guy on and Battle LA guy on it, and those were, like, generic action movies. So it's like you can tell, like, he didn't really have a lot of input other than, like, action sequences, and that Michael Bay just told him to do, just do that. Like that scene from South Park, where it's like you had this guy who's like a parody of the Emperor Palpatine telling George Bush about like to give a certain announcement. But like, so is that a possibility? Is that a situation of a director going too far where he doesn't have creative control and just listens to what other people tell him to do?
No, because that's the case of the director not doing crap.
Right.
He doesn't go.
That's director. That's the director. Polite. That's.
He doesn't go. He doesn't go too far. He doesn't go far. He just doesn't go far enough.
This director stops at nothing and stays there.
Genius line. Let's see. What's another situation? What about a Stanley Kubrick? Like, wasn't there like some? Didn't you tell me this, Adam, where he was like shouting at what's her name, Shelley? I'm probably gonna be.
Oh, Stanley Kubrick, Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. Yeah. Was he like screaming at her or like just like verbally abusing her? Abusing her.
He abused her so much. It's awful how he treated her. I mean, every day he'd do nothing but insult her. He'd do nothing but yell at her. He'd do nothing but like basically call her a cunt all over the place. And I'm like, that's awful. But the performance you got out of her was absolutely amazing.
Unless you're Stephen King, who just straight up hates her.
Well, granted, she got nominated for a Razzie Award for Worst Actress, so I don't know. I mean, that certainly hasn't aged at all.
Let's see. I guess I can just bring up the most obvious person, George Lucas.
Lucas!
Lucas!
Lucas. Now that's a case of a director getting too involved after he's made the movie. Oh my god.
Actually, it's more like him just trying to pull something out of his ass to tie it over the fandom.
Or like maybe it's possible that he didn't have a lot of creative control over the original Star Wars because, you know, I guess with those movies he had input from a lot of people, and he was like, you know what, I want to redo my movies. I want to make them feel like they're more my movies and not those people who are yelling at me to not do stuff. I'm rich now. I want to make my movies better. I want to do things I want to do now. I want to make them more my movies.
I really want to rape Indiana Jones really badly.
I think I got Harrison Ford on speed dial.
Oh my god!
I'll even have Steven Spielberg have.
Yeah. There is this picture that's floating around on Facebook of like 3 different Harrison Fords: him from Blade Runner, him from Indiana Jones, and him from Star Wars. And it's like the beginning of a joke. It's like a detective, a thief, and an archaeologist walk into a bar, and then it ends with that, and then all of a sudden I commented saying, "No, get off my plane."
Get off my bar.
Get off my bar.
Don't get cocky, chapter.
Because that's exactly what he sounds like.
Go fuck yourself.
Now you're just sounding like Josh Brolin.
Let's see, another indicator. Well, yeah. Like I mentioned, with George Lucas is like, I got the feeling that he wanted to leave he wanted to leave his mark on the older Star Wars films because he feel like he didn't put enough. He didn't have enough control on those movies in the first place. So he he wanted to leave like his like he always said like this is how I always envisioned Star Wars, until like another couple years later, oh no, this is how I always envisioned Star Wars. A couple of years later, this is how I feel. This is my definitive like version of Star Wars I've always had in my head.
Right.
And like he just constantly feels the need to like I don't know. It's kind of like, is this like an obsessive compulsive sort of OCD sort of thing going on here, where it's like
It definitely feels that way.
He just feels the need to make it.
It's like he's like, it's never good enough, and I'm like, that's, yeah, you can do that to anything, but eventually it's no longer your movie. It's just,
yeah, and like he was a major part of those movies, but you know there were so many other people involved, but he's trying to take all the focus and have it focused on him. Like he's the creator of Star Wars, but I feel like Star Wars is much more than just George Lucas.
right.
And yeah,
No,
like,
but it's mainly George Lucas is doing this whole thing,
like
this whole debacle with
yeah.
Star Wars. It literally is almost completely his doing.
And then you have the prequels where it's fully in his control. Thanks to him, he has advertised himself as like the one true person who can do Star Wars. And what happens? All of his faults as a filmmaker are shown plain as day in those movies.
And ironically, well, here's what I find George Lucas is good at. George Lucas is good at
Business.
He would have been a great, fantastic second unit director. Because second unit directors usually go out there and do establishing shots or do scene establishments. I mean, look at the first Star Wars movie. The first Star Wars movie is beautiful for setting up the Star Wars universe, which makes me appreciate him hiring other directors to do the other two character-driven movies. And it's ironic that the one that he was involved with the least out of the prequels is, in my opinion, the best one, which is Episode 3.
Yeah.
So, George Lucas just needs to stop.
Well, he has stabbed, but well, there was that one movie where it's like from the creative mind of George Lucas, and it's like this new animated film that I think that's coming out soon. But
oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to turn out, but Red Tails came out recently. I think that was a production he produced. That was a movie that he always wanted to make back in like the 90s when he said that he wanted to make other movies and not Star Wars. Then the prequels happened about the Tuskegee Airmen during World War II. But then I think that movie got panned by critics.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Let's see.
Oh my god. Oh, this is what made the footage famous. Faces of Death. That movie.
What is that movie?
It's
Faces of Death.
reel of nothing but people actually dying in real life. It shows like the JFK assassination and
It's around
other
2.5
stuff.
hours long. It's basically people doing stupid things and dying. That's what most of it is. Like, there's one about like a guy getting torn apart by a bear. Yes, I've seen it.
I just had that.
That's a lot, Adam.
I just had that Harry S. Plinkett moment, like, oh.
Isn't there like
they
3
show
of those
it frame
movies?
by frame.
Isn't there like 3 of those movies?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about that. I've only seen the first one.
Ah.
There's 3 of those movies, and then, well, here's the thing. That was also released around the same time, I believe, as Cannibal Holocaust. So Cannibal Holocaust and that movie kind of played hand in hand. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck. Ooh, Faces of Death 2, Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, that was going to be my comment earlier. Taken 3, The Return.
Oh!
The Return.
Yeah, because ladies and gentlemen, before we went on recording, we were just making fun of Taken, and we were just coming up with stupid titles for, like, further installments. Taken Back the House. Taken Too Far.
Taken. Again.
Taken.
Just short, simple titles.
Taken 3. Stolen. Let's see. Any other directors, or are we pretty much...
The director of Faces of Death.
Well, yeah, he goes way too far.
Oh my god!
He wants to know. He wants to let everyone know of the three constants in life: death, shitting,
Death.
and taxes.
Death. No, shitting isn't necessarily even a part of it because you could be born and then die. So there's only one thing that is consistent with everybody, and that is death. Let that sink in, everyone. Here on this episode of Shuwatch, we discuss the idea of death.
Eventually, all three of us will be dead at one point in the future.
Yep, isn't that a wonderful idea?
And all of
And
you,
you will too.
Yes, every single one of you listeners will die.
Right. Let that sink in, everyone. You're gonna fucking
I'll never grow old. I'll never die. I'll always eat oatmeal.
You always get older, and you always die. A beatus.
There's even like this really, in Faces of Death, there's even like this really like deep narrator who speaks suspiciously like a mixture of Paul Frees and Orson Welles, explaining how they die. And I'm like, oh my god.
Do you really need an explanation? I mean, you're watching how they die.
You're watching.
And so I took the last bottle of wine, and that's when I felt my heart stopped. And then for the next hour or so, I continued to eat my chicken. And at which point all the blood stopped circulating in my body. And then for the next 2 hours, I continued to eat more of my chicken. It was at that point that I finally choked on the bone in my neck. And then another 5 hours later,
Oh my god.
I realized I was allergic to chicken. At which point I had succumbed to my allergies. And at that point, my wife shot me in the head. She really did not like me a whole lot.
I almost want to show you guys the final death scene because somebody uploaded it
Yeah.
to YouTube. The death scenes on fucking Cannibal Holocaust. Just to give you guys the option. But I forgot what happens in it.
No, I'm going to sit through the entire thing. If I'm going to watch Cannibal Holocaust, it's going to be a full movie thing.
Oh god, imagine like...
It's not a bad movie. It's not. It's a good movie.
No,
It's just-
I'm willing to watch it. I mean, it's a gore film. Of course I'm going to want to watch it. I mean, I'm not going to sit down and watch Faces of Death, but I will watch Cannibal Holocaust.
Just remember to let no one walk in on you watching that thing, because it's going to be quite a hell of an experience trying to explain that to them.
Right. Oh, you shouldn't watch Faces of Death either, because there's a scene that takes place at a slaughterhouse for cows and sheep. So you probably shouldn't watch that either, Andres.
Well, they were meant to die. They meant to die. For the sake of our own nutrition.
Steak.
I look at a baby piglet and I go, bacon. No, not really. Let's see. So, let's see. Any further directors who have gone too far?
Many. Ed Wood went too far by just making movies.
I will defend Ed Wood.
Me too. I'll defend Ed Wood tooth and claw.
Now, that was a man with a vision. A rather blurry vision, but a vision nonetheless.
The vision nonetheless.
Ed Wood was a man who wanted to make movies, and he did. They weren't good, but he still made them, and that's what he wanted to do.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that does remind me like of a topic that I came up with during the first episode of Creature Feature Double Feature, which you can see on Adam's channel right now, where we watch Empire of the Ants and Food of the Gods. And that was when you have a director who consistently makes bad films, one after another, and he doesn't care about the quality of his films, he just likes making movies in general, would that be a director going too far if he just doesn't care about the end product?
I don't know. You see, these are very philosophical questions you're asking me while I'm watching Faces of Death in HD on YouTube, and
Adam.
And you wonder why people hate you.
God, what's wrong with me? Fuck you.
Well, do you want the entire list, or do you want us to just skim off the top?
Oh no! Just give me the first 10.
Well,
In
you're
alphabetical
at.
order.
And to steal a line from David, you're fat!
Okay. You're white.
Let's see.
No, that's really all I wanted to talk about, now that I'm completely out of...
Oh, don't worry. This is perfect segue into our next topic, because I will be getting back onto the topic of directors.
All right. So you ready to close this section out, Adam?
Yeah, we're done. Bye, everybody.
See you in the next section, everybody.
Take care.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Shuwatch. And now I'm going to get into a very interesting topic that I'm sure is going to gather me a lot of hatred, but I don't care. This stuff needs to be talked about.
Jacob Baker has completely hijacked the show, everyone. He's currently holding us at gunpoint. Please send help as soon as possible.
Now, what did I tell you about telling the audience about that? Now I'm going to have to take off a toe.
No!
You deserve this. You deserve this
blood.
for being you.
All the blood everywhere. Come on.
I'm not gonna lie, Adam. You do deserve this.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to talk about that which is overrated. Now, okay, have you ever come across something in your lifetime, whether it's something from before your time or the current generation, that you just look at and you ponder, how on earth did this get as big as it is? And the first two that I want to point to, because I'm really curious to find out about my two cohorts here. Okay, let's start off with overrated bands. Now,
Overrated bands?
Bands, yes.
Okay.
There's several sections of this we'll go over, but for right now, let's talk about bands. Now, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Why are these two as popular as they are? I mean, have you ever heard the music?
I do actually. In fact, I own a copy of the Beatles Rock Band because I like them.
For a gameplay standpoint, I can understand that because I love those games. But the music itself, when the Beatles first came out, they had some like really great songs in that big British invasion boom.
Yes,
but
it was a holidays night.
But then as soon as like the drug culture really hit them, which I think they were already part of the drug culture, but when it started bleeding over into their music, like I Am the Walrus.
Oh man, I
love that song. The Yellow Submarine.
I am the walrus, cuckoo, cachoo. Every time I hear that song, all I think of is Andres or fucking Tusk now. All I think of is Tusk.
That's Kevin Smith's reaction. Nobody liked my movie. I am the walrus. Cuckoo, cachoo. Why nobody see my movie? Twitter said walrus yes. Oh, sorry, Jacob. Go on.
Well, I mean, I guess if I was a druggie or at least a stoner, I might understand a lot of this.
Please tell me you like
where their music is coming from. But I'm not cracked out, so.
Please tell me you like
For the life
Pink
of me,
Floyd.
I can't understand it.
Adam.
Was that Adam?
Yeah.
Do you like Pink Floyd?
What I've heard, they're okay.
Okay. Okay. I'll have you know that they have Adam Noyes' seal of approval.
You're going against your own rule of judging.
I'm not judging. I'm just making.
It's called making a statement.
I'm just making a statement.
Well, no, I'm not saying that you shouldn't like this stuff. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own tastes.
Right.
So, it's just, this stuff is completely over my head as to how it got so popular.
I don't know.
It's like Evangelion.
The Beatles are like Evangelion. Think about it. There were 4 Avas in the show.
Damn it, Andres, you just ruined Ava for me.
The show quickly changed its pace halfway through the show.
Oh my god.
The show certainly acts like it's on drugs when it got to the halfway with all the mindfuckery and the badness and the holy...
My friend is watching Evangelion, and he's like, Adam, I don't really like this show. And I was like, why? He's like, I'm currently on episode 9, and it's just like a Monster of the Week thing. I was like, oh, you haven't got 15 yet. It is literally, it all starts on episode 15. That's where everything starts.
Well, let's see. Like, I don't know. Personally, I think Well, I guess I grew up with the early stuff. I grew up on the early stuff with the Beatles. I liked a lot of their, that's how I was introduced to them. And I remember my grandmother introduced me to the Beatles and had like a CD of the Beatles like number ones. And a lot of them was from that early period. And, but I don't know, I guess after I exposed a lot of I was exposed to a lot of the later stuff through the Rock Band game. And, I don't know, I kind of find their newer stuff more interesting and more varied than their earlier stuff, because like, I don't know, maybe it is that drug culture that I was, I'm clearly was too young to experience, and so I just look at it with curiosity and just think, just wondering what they think when they were in that recording studio. They're like, "Hey John, what is it? I think we got a song about an octopus. It's called An Octopus's Garden." But George, octopuses don't have garden. That's what makes it so brilliant. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden. It's so weird, but I don't know. I like it. What was a song I really like? Oh, does this, when you were talking about like that drug period, does that include Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Gang?
Yes,
Okay.
that was very drug-induced.
Okay, oh no, I really like that one too. Was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. We hope you have enjoyed the show.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't even like that song.
What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you get up and walk out on me? Apparently Baker did.
That's actually one of the only songs they did that I can tolerate.
And that's actually one of my favorite Beatles songs.
Do not sing any of Yellow Submarine or I will punch you through the screen.
We all live
No,
in
Falcon
a yellow
Punch,
submarine.
The yellow submarine. The yellow submarine.
I brought upon my
He
own
starts
nightmare.
cutting himself.
Oh, Jacob, you should be so glad that Yellow Submarine movie never got made after the horrible failure of Mars Needs Moms.
I still have to live in a world where the Beatles still exist. So. But anyway, what to you guys is overrated bands? I mean, you guys surely have things that you've heard that you're like, why? That everyone else has been overhyped about.
I don't know. But the thing is, like, when it comes to overrated, let's see.
We still on bands because I have a couple.
Yes,
yeah, you can go. You'll go first.
Well, the one that I don't really think they're overrated because I like their stuff. They're just played. It's just played so much. I got sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking Benjamin. As much as I love Breaking Benjamin, I got really sick of them really quick.
Yeah, that's sort of my same experience with Linkin Park. Whenever they first came out.
Yeah, Linkin Park, I have that same stuff
but
now. Yeah.
they're so overplayed. Now I can't stand Linkin Park. If something even normally sounds like Linkin Park, I'm like, nope, switch channel.
anything by Imagine Dragons, I'm like, really? I don't really
heard of them.
I don't like Imagine Dragons at all. They did the song at the end of the new Transformers movie that says anything about them.
They're like Lincoln Light.
And then let's see, what's another one? 3 Days Grace. 3 Days Grace. I'm trying to think of older. Oh God, I'm gonna say it. I'm finally gonna come out and say it.
You're actually straight?
I really am. I can't stand penis. No, I'm gonna say it. I don't like Elvis Presley.
Just because of the fact that of the overhype, or because you just don't care about how he sings?
I just don't care. All of his songs have the same. To me, all of his songs have the same exact beat, same exact tempo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care for his voice personally. I don't really care for his voice, which is funny because I love Johnny Cash. Actually, no, I don't even really care for Johnny Cash. I like his older stuff. I mean, his newer. Well, I found he got better as he got older. Personally, I found he got better as he got older after he did all the drugs.
I think I may have a similar complaint with Metallica.
Oh God, yes.
I like several songs here and there, especially the one. But then a lot of the times, again, it has a very same. Everything sound. A lot of the songs I hear from them sound the same. They kind of blend together. They all have that same beat. The same with the double pedal drums that they have. It all just blends together.
Did you? Dorkley. He does like the video game parody stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos of his. Yeah.
Did you see the one with Mario doing the tune, the Nickelback?
No, I haven't.
Well, that one, it's Mario going along and he's like doing the tune and he's like, wait, is that Nickelback? And he goes on a little bit further and he's like, okay, which song is this? Is this the one where he's talking about you remembering something or something else? And he's like,
right.
Listen to the song. And he goes through it again and he's like, they're the same song.
Yeah, they literally are. They literally are.
In terms of artists, well, not a band per se, but I've always wondered why Lil Jon has stayed around for so goddamn long.
A rapper?
The guy who goes, what? Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Turn that for what? That was his song.
And the best use of that was on Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Let's see. I don't get the appeal of Nicki Minaj. I think her music is horrible.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely horrible.
I mean,
but I also have a taste for Lady Gaga and some of Kesha's earlier stuff.
Yeah, Lady Gaga stuff is pretty catchy, I'll admit.
I will admit, I am down with the Gaga.
Yeah.
I am. I really fucking love her song. I fell in love with her song. It's from her new album.
Born This Way?
No, that's not from her new album.
That's an older album.
I'm out of it when it comes to current music. I just hear a certain song on the radio. Now I'm like, why is this a thing?
No, let's see. What the fuck is it? Come on, I have it on my thing. Music. I'm going to listen to it too. Music. Scroll all the way down. My folder called Miscellaneous. Where is it? Aha, there it is. Okay, now everything's loading up in that. Oh my god, I have so much music. Yes. Applause by Lady Gaga. Love that song.
As I said, I'm down with the Gaga.
I live for the applause, applause, applause. I live for the applause, applause, live for the applause, applause, live for...
that song. What was that early song that got her a lot of attention that Eric Cartman sang a cover of?
For
Poker
you
Face?
to bang the gong.
Or like, no, it was like, I don't give a crap about where else will go and hug a tree. I love it. Russian roulette is not the same without a gun.
We're gonna dig you again. I'm you.
Let's see, more overrated stuff.
Applause, applause, live for the
Well-
applause, applause, live for the applause, applause, live for the way that you cheer when you sing for the applause, applause, applause.
Okay,
All right, Emma, I'm going to stop you right there.
Make them touch.
Adam, Nathan Gallagher sucked.
Don't make me get the hedge clippers again. Okay,
Welcome
well,
to Watch the Musical, everyone.
Every show needs that one musical episode.
we've had like 17 in this one alone. Okay, well, if we're running low on bands, I guess we could move on to directors.
I have have one. Ooh.
Okay.
All right, Adam, go for it.
Ooh. Quentin Tarantino.
Ooh.
I will fully agree with you on that. I mean, I love the Kill Bill movies, but that's about it.
And I totally loved Inglourious Bastards.
Oh,
But
yeah, another good one.
Django Unchained has almost completely ruined my taste for him.
Really?
Actually, I haven't seen that one yet.
I liked it, but it's one of those movies that every time you watch it, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Hmm.
You know? And Kill Bill, the two Kill Bill movies will always be my favorite films by Quentin Tarantino.
I think I can see.
Yeah, this is just me personally, you know.
Yeah, I can sort of see how like how you can see him as overrated. Like he's an director who does, for the most part, the majority of his career has been him homaging other older genres of films that are no longer popular, or like no, at least no longer in the spotlight. Or whether it's like westerns or samurai movies or
I don't know what you can call fiction.
But yeah, he does a lot of referencing in his movies, and I guess isn't that level of originality in his films that you see in other people. I guess another overrated director, and it's going to pain me because I actually love this director, so it's kind of like a conundrum with me, is Tim Burton, because I love his older stuff. I grew up with his older stuff.
Yeah, I love his old stuff.
But it's like he's become so... Is it possible for a director to become commercialized? Because I think he is one of the most commercialized names in the business, where it's like Tim Burton, and already you got like a specific audience that are willing to go and see his stuff, because he constantly relies on the same shtick that he has, where it's like misunderstood characters or the quirky gothic scenery. And to be honest,
well, then you can't really you'd have to say that about Peter Jackson, because Peter Jackson is definitely all he needs to do. And I'm one of those people. All I need to do is say directed to see Peter Jackson's involvement with the movie, and I'm like, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go see it.
Same here. I mean, like I'll admit, I went to see Frankenweenie. I loved Frankenweenie.
Yes.
I will gladly admit I am part of the problem with Tim Burton. Although I will say Planet of the Apes was terrible, and what else? I still love Batman Returns, but there's a serious problems in that movie.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some serious problems with that movie. Love it, but
yeah.
big problems with it.
Yeah, fuck you, Bill. I love Batman '89. There is nothing wrong
Batman
with
'89.
There is nothing wrong with Batman '89.
Batman
I actually
'89
prefer
is so
Michael
good.
Keaton as Batman.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's a fucking great Batman. And that costume! Don't even get me started on how much that is my favorite
costume.
Batman costume ever.
Well, just his characterization.
And also love Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Love him as the Joker.
He doesn't have the right body shape, but damn, he did a good job in that role.
Let's see.
Batman as the Punisher? Fuck yeah.
I do want to see his latest movie that's still in theaters, Big Eyes. Because it seems like it's like the first like normal-ish Tim Burton movie in a while.
It's Tim Burton. There's no such thing as normal-ish with him. If he would stop screwing up franchises I want to see brought back, like the Dark Shadows.
Okay, yeah, that had serious problems, yeah.
I mean, I give him credit for having Alice Cooper in it, because I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, after it shifts to the 70s, it's when it becomes utter crap, and it's like, no! The House of Dark Shadows was awesome. Why couldn't this be on par with that?
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not looking forward to his version of Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Because I love the original series, and I know he's going to botch it up. Yes, he's remaking Kolchak, and of course, Johnny Depp is Kolchak.
Is he still on that project for an Addams Family movie?
That I don't know, because that doesn't interest me as much as Kolchak.
Okay, because here's something that might interest you both, being kaiju fans. Like, I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, before Pacific Rim was even announced, there was this an adaptation of this strategy board game called Monster Apocalypse. I don't know if either of you have heard of that.
I've heard of this.
I've heard of it. But...
Yeah. And it's a strategy board game. You like figures and little dices, and you move monsters around the board. You get power-ups and destroy buildings, and you gain like a big monsters and little monsters. And there's like a bunch of monsters for every. There's like a bunch of factions. You have your like dinosaurs. You have your giant apes, your giant sea monsters, your giant Cthulhu monsters, your space monsters, your giant bugs and like robots and Ultraman style cyber ninjas. But like it was announced like a couple of years ago where it's like there was going to be a movie adaptation of Monster Apocalypse, and it pretty much had the exact same premise that Pacific Rim, where monsters have been around for a while and humanity fights back with giant robots. And Tim Burton was signed on to direct the movie, but when Pacific Rim came out, I think one of the producers of that movie said, "We're going to wait and see how Pacific Rim does before we move any further." And we've never heard from that project since, or at least I have never heard from that project.
Because Pacific Rim kind of didn't do
bombed.
very well.
Yeah.
Well, and he was also originally supposed to work on the legendary Godzilla film.
Oh, really?
Oh, I heard about those. Well, then again, so was John Carpenter. So, I mean...
that I would have loved to have seen. John Carpenter's Godzilla.
As soon as I heard that he was...
He's a huge Godzilla fan.
When he was asked to do it, first off, props to John Carpenter for saying, I don't think I'd be the right guy to do this. Props to him for saying that. He's that big enough of a fan. He's that big enough of a fan to say, I don't think I could do it right. You know, he openly admitted it, and I'm like, oh, that props to you. I'm like, okay. I don't know what he thought of the new Godzilla movie. I bet you he hated it. It's like, oh, I wish I directed it now.
I would have shown them Godzilla.
Let's see.
All right. Well, I'm going to stir up a hornet's nest here.
Ooh.
Okay. To me, one of the most overrated directors of all time.
Alfred Hitchcock.
No, Ridley Scott.
Oh, completely agree with you.
Really? I figured you'd be the one who disagreed with me on this one.
No, God. Have you seen any of his new shit?
Yeah, a lot of it.
Have you seen any of his old shit? That's what gets me. I mean, it's like
Well,
Alien.
I don't know. You've got Alien and you've got...
Blade Runner, right?
Blade
And I'm
Runner,
like,
one
those
of the most
movies are
friggin'
absolutely
boring
huge.
movies I've ever seen.
Are you so... Oh, now you're treading in deep water, Jake.
That's my territory, being a film noir or neo-noir.
There's elements to it I can appreciate, but the overall story structure and the character development was lackluster and dull.
You're lucky Dylan isn't here.
Oh, yeah, he loves that
Dylan,
movie.
it's like his favorite movie of all time, Blade Runner.
And he can appreciate that movie. Just that to me, it's just... There's nothing there that I can connect with.
Uh-huh.
And I have very strange tastes. Like... I did a thing on Shinya Tsukamoto before I got into my review of Haruko the Goblin, which shows just how bizarre of films I can appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, his movies have never appealed to me. Like Blade Runner, Alien, like I said,
Well, I can easily say now that I declare Jacob to be an outlaw!
Get off my podcast.
Bad boy, the SOS, right here, baby.
Well, let's see. Well, that is certainly a tough one to follow.
Another director that I think is overrated.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
I was gonna say Hayao Miyazaki, but I said no because I legitimately like all of his movies too much.
Yeah.
Well, you can still like a director and still find them overrated.
Oh, let's see. Well, I guess I can say Spielberg, new Spielberg specifically.
New Spielberg.
Yeah, he's certainly I would see him as a perfect example of a director who's past his prime, and I guess he kind of lost a lot of that imaginative spark, and I don't know, that magic, I guess, that made like movies like E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Jaws so one iconic and wonderful. Oh, and Jurassic Park, of course.
And then he had to ruin it all with the War of the Worlds remake.
Now, that's an interesting one.
I don't hate that movie. I don't hate that movie.
I saw that movie recently on television, and looking at it, I wanted to like it so much because there was so much good with that movie, except the characters. It's like
The characters are terrible.
They're
Well, they're not terrible. They're not terrible. They're just boring, I should say.
Or flat of unlikable, like the son, who fucking abandoned his family to fight a pointless war, and then undeservingly lived at the end.
Oh, that fucking son. Oh my god. I want
There's three things about that movie that really ground that as the movie that I just hate. Because I'm a huge fan of the novel.
Uh-huh.
It's like one of the few books I actually read.
Yeah.
Oh no, then what do you think of the 1953 movie? Because that's one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh, that movie's fantastic. That's how I got introduced to War of the Worlds. No, I love that movie. I even like the TV show based off of it. Except
I haven't seen the TV show. I haven't seen the TV show, to be honest.
It's the first season is the only season I can advise watching because it's the only season that's any good.
Right. Okay.
The acting sucks severely, but good storyline, good everything to the show. Now, okay, Steven Spielberg, the characters. Okay, that's really where you got to get me with a movie. If I like the characters in a movie, I'm with you. I don't care what crappy premise you give me. As long as I like the characters, I'm fine. I wanted each and every single one of the main characters to die, and then for it to move on to someone likable.
Yeah.
Because they were just so stereotypical of what Hollywood rehashes in all of their movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't... I want to see people I like. Another thing, and this is more of a minor gripe, but the alien designs. The aliens were horrible. I mean, I can sort of see the fact that they're tripods themselves. That was sort of interesting, but the designs themselves, as a designer...
Right. Yeah.
Right. They should have just repopped the ones from the 50s movie.
Yeah, that was so much original. Even to this day, those original aliens with like the 8 tentacles on each side and the beak and the head, it's still like a very original alien in this day and age after we've had so many aliens come and gone in fiction.
And yet we get the things from Independence Day.
Yeah.
That's basically what they were. They were tripod versions of the Independence Day.
Oh, yeah, totally, man.
And the thing that really pissed me off the most about the movie, and it's the book sort of did it, but the book had more to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg's movie didn't show the frickin' war.
Yeah.
The title is called War of the Worlds. I want to see a frickin' war, not a couple minutes of there's a robot.
That's honestly what makes me love the 53 movie so much, is that it is literally nothing but the war.
You know what? It's funny. Like after watching the movie again, in the post-Pacific Rim world that we live in, all I could think of was like there was the boat. It reminded me of the intro to with like the Gypsy Danger versus Knifehead fight, where there's a boat, and then rising out a bit from behind the boat is a giant robot that makes the Inception horn. Bwom. I was expecting Gypsy Danger to appear on the other side going, Bwom. And I want to see it. I want to see it badly. Just Gypsy Danger duking it out with a tripod and with that boat in between them.
Yes. Man, that scene always freaked me out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I watched this thing as a kid, because my biggest fear in terms of dying is probably drowning overall.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I could think of a few ways, but
Mm-hmm.
Being mauled by koala bears.
No, that'd just be cute. Like, oh, they're killing me.
How adorable.
That would be something for Faces of Death.
Let's see.
Another one. Let's see. Another director I find overrated. Let's see. Oh, in all seriousness.
Uh-huh.
Quite a bit of Akira Kurosawa.
Hmm.
And you know how much I praise some of his movies. It's just, I find that, like, he's got really fucking good ones. Don't get me wrong. Like, I can't name all of his good ones. But yet then he's also got these ones like The Bad Sleep Well. And too bad. To me, Kagemusha and Ron aren't very good. I know it's just my opinion. Please don't kill me for it. I mean, we jokingly kill each other on the show for it, but please don't kill me. It's just my opinion. Kagemusha and Ron I don't find very good at all. Visually, they're striking. but that's it. That's it.
You're free to have whatever opinion you want, Adam. We're not going to ostracize you for that. Only if you start singing Beatles songs.
Right. Okay. Then don't sing Beatles.
But no,
songs.
I fully agree with you on that. I mean, visually, his films, they're fantastic. But there are elements that seem really lackluster. I mean, it's even The Seventh Samurai, or Seventh Samurai. I love Seven Samurai.
Yeah, that movie's so
because
good.
it is a fantastic movie. But watching it, there are several moments where I'm like, I could be doing something else right now.
The movie is very fucking long. I will give you that. The movie, I think, is a little bit over 4 hours.
Yeah, it's a freaking long one.
It's a really long movie. But again, he's also made films like Rashomon and Ikiru and all those movies, and they're just breathtaking movies. They're so good. But then you got Sanjuro, The Bad Sleep Well, which is so funny because the movie he made in between those two I absolutely love, which is High and Low. Love that movie to death. Jacob, name another one. Shiro
Are we going with another director?
Fucking Godzilla, worst piece of shit I've ever seen.
Actually, for some reason, my mind is not focused on directors so much as it is franchises.
Uh-huh.
So, Andres, do you have another director, or do we move on?
Let's see. Sorry, I don't have any more directors at this point.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to the topic of franchises. Maybe not franchises, but genres. Now, I am a huge fan of horror movies. I mean, John Carpenter's The Thing is my favorite movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as much as I love horror films, there are certain, I guess they'd be called subgenres or categories pertaining to the horror genre that honestly have been overplayed to death. Like zombies. Now, I love zombies, but honestly, there's just too much zombie stuff. Too many zombie TV shows,
Oh,
too many
completely
movies, too
agree.
many games.
Completely agree.
Even to the point where it's like in my writing for film class, writing for television and film class, my professor mentioned how if you ever plan on getting started and making short films and stuff, don't do zombies.
Zombies or vampires. No, I like werewolves, but I could never get into the vampire thing. But vampires originally did not bother me. But it's like every year there's like 150 billion movies made about vampires. It's like that's the main horror thing that people focus on.
I don't that is true that there were ever since like the Twilight franchise became a phenomenon across the nation for whatever reason. We certainly had a lot of those supernatural romance films, I guess you can call them.
Warm bodies. Warm fucking bodies.
Or fucking Beastly. I don't... Wait, how did I even saw Beastly? Oh, yeah, I think my sister... I had to go with my family to see that movie, or maybe it was like my sister and cousins went to see that movie. I had to go with them. It was The Wolfman. Yeah, The Wolfman was in theaters. I could have seen that, but then I saw something else. Was it? No, it wasn't Warm Bot. No, Beast. Why did I see Beastly? No, why?
Bodies.
They turned the Beast from Beauty and the Beast and turned him into like a dude you would see at like working at Hot Topic with like tattoos all over his face.
You don't do that to the frickin' Beast. You can only do the Beast as Ron Perlman from the old TV show.
Or the Disney Beast.
Or the Disney Beast. I actually thought about building that.
Oh, wow, that'd be really amazing. Let's see. But now, I guess ever since now, like, the Hunger Games became, like, the new thing now, I think they're just getting still just, like, any sort of teen adventure novel sort of thing going on. And I don't know if that can be considered a subgenre where it's, like, the teen action novel adaptation. Where it's like, what was another...
Granted, I did not hate Divergent.
I guess that was Well, I never saw that movie, but I guess that's one example. There was
It's
like
not good. I didn't hate it. Because it's an allegory for the high school experience, which made me actually kind of admire it, because it is kind of true.
there was another
At least
one.
the book was. I'm not sure if the movie really did it very well, but...
I think one was
books-
called like Percy Jackson.
Yeah, Percy Jackson.
Oh, those are terrible.
And then there was what was it called? Beautiful Creatures, I think. And that was another one.
Don't.
All right, now I am in favor of this movie, but Battle Royale. Battle Royale is like the only film within that genre that I can look at and say, that is freaking epic. That's like top 5 favorite movies right there.
Was it only because like
Godzilla Battle Royale, or...
Well,
Yes,
of course that one, but no, Battle Royale, it's the
original
novel,
team killing movie?
Yes. It's 41 students in a battle to the death.
That was a Kinji Fukusaku movie, I think.
I
He
would have
directed
to
Green
click it.
Slime.
Really?
Yeah.
You've always
I'm
liked
going to look it up right now since I have my phone on me. So I'm going to look
Right.
at
But along with this, I already said this in my own video. I can't remember which one, but you can find it on my channel at Atomic Stick Figure. One of my obscure reviews. Battle Royale 2 is the biggest steaming pile you could ever come across.
You reviewed that
And
movie
that-
on your channel?
No, I make a reference to it.
Oh, okay.
But I specifically bought like this 4 DVD set.
Yep, Kinji Fukusaku directed it.
Extra reason to like it.
Love
But
that guy.
the first movie is utterly fantastic, and the second one is not. And I watched them back to back, and that pissed me off. I was actually purple at how pissed I was. I was like, "You can't do this."
It made you
The
want
first-
to. It made you want to get into one of your monster suits and start crushing like model
Oh,
trains in
well then-
anger.
Oh, he only directed... I was going to say, oh no, according to this, he directed that too. But no, he only directed one scene, then he was fired.
And he probably did the only scene that was actually any good, and it was a flashback scene.
And it's like, there's no
Hold on,
money
let me
that's
see- let me
there's no
see if he
money that's
actually
worth
did it.
this.
And it's even got one of my favorite actors, Beat Takashi, in it. You guys may know him more as Vic Ramono from MXC.
Or Take Majin from Monster
Yes!
X Strikes Back, Attack the G8 Summit.
Takemajin.
Or if you're
Nishikoma.
or if you're fans of JonTron, you remember him as the creator of that one video game, Takeshi's Challenge.
And if I had an NES or a Famicom, I would so play that just because it's got him behind it. I mean, he's like, I don't want to say that I idolize the guy, but I
Totally
idolize
idolized
the
the guy.
So I bet it blew your mind when you found out he was part of like a kaiju film with Monster X
That's the
Strikes
entire
Back.
reason why I watched it, because at first I was like, hey, Monster X, oh, it's going to be a comedy? Screw that noise. Wait, Takashi's in it? I'm on board!
Oh no, the only reason why Kinji Fukusaku died during production. Okay, that's why he wasn't fired. Okay.
He probably died
Died.
because he knew how shitty it was going to be.
Quentin Tarantino said he was offered the role to play the President of the United States. We're
In which movie?
fucked. Battle Royale 2, according to IMDb.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made it any better. To me, there is no deficit lower than Battle Royale 2.
Then Battle
That's
Royale
like
2.
That is the
Not
the
even
cream of the
Troll
crop
2?
of- Troll 2 is like the Citizen Kane of horror movies compared to Battle Royale 2.
That's it. You got to review that on Obscure Review. It may
What,
not be
Troll 2?
obscure, but you have
No,
to you have
there's
to do
people
battle.
have already done reviews for it. I thought about it.
I just want to hear your rant about that movie.
I just love rants.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I could easily do rants. Hey, maybe I should do that. A new branch of
Obscure
Atomic
rants.
And then it would just break down to points of me just going, ah, I hate this movie. Ah.
For like the logo, it's just you show yourself in a kaiju suit. Your face is like you're visible in like the monster's mouth or whatever. You have this crazed expression. You're like destroying model buildings in rage.
I'll do that as an actual photo.
Oh God.
Me inside of the Mastodon costume just stomping shit with angry face.
You're going to be like me during the Christmas special. Fuck everything!
Oh my God. Andres gets fucking real.
Yeah, I actually applaud you, Andres, for just how far not you went.
Yeah.
Listening to that, I was like, that's Andres, isn't it? Damn. Someone must have pissed him off.
Dude, you should have seen me during during the road trip. The road trip to G-Fest and like the crazy conversations Bill, Dylan, and I had in our like whenever we were alone.
Oh, so your anger at people was actually a real thing. I thought that was just something you were joking about.
Half joking, I guess.
No, I really hate people.
Andres is even more of an ass than I am. In all reality.
I just prefer to control my assiness.
I play an ass on the show, but in real life I've actually got like a heart of gold. Yeah, it's a fucking lie, but
like bullshit, Adam, bullshit.
You haven't even met me, Andres.
Those are some mighty strong words there.
You haven't met me. How are those mighty strong words?
I don't know, I'm just quoting you at this point.
Those are some mighty strong words there, Adam. I said that, and I thought you guys were gonna die, and I'm like, really? That's the line that you guys are fucking dying on? Those are some mighty strong words.
I guess it's just the context of when we started taking that line and started using it randomly. Let's see, back to overrated franchise stuff.
I just think the Cancer movie is overrated.
The Cancer movie?
Well, like the teens with cancer or Fault in Our Stars kind of shit.
Family members with cancer.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Well, that's more of a cliche that I'm sick of than anything else. Granted, I didn't hate The Fault in Our Stars because I actually thought that the two characters, unlike most romances, actually had chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like how they didn't start off liking each other at all. They just became good friends, and then the more they hung out, the more they wound up liking each other. Okay. However, the thing that bugged me about it was I've seen some people go through cancer, and by God, did those people look pretty good for people with stage 4 fucking cancer.
Yeah. Reminds me of this, like, Jacob, you've seen Kamen Rider the First, right?
Yes.
You remember that romance subplot with those two characters who had nothing to do with the story until, like, the very end?
Yeah, I actually didn't mind that. I thought that was actually sort of neat.
It was cute.
Yeah, cute.
I thought I thought it was okay, but I just thought that it should belong in its own movie.
Well, the purpose of it was you didn't know how it fit, and that's what I liked about it. Here we got these characters, you don't know how they're going to tie into it, and then you get the reveal, which is sort of ruined by the fact that they show her earlier in the outfit. You can clearly tell by her chin it's her, but it was that whole. If you weren't able to catch on to that little detail, it was still leading up to, well, how are they tied into Shocker? And then you find out, and it's like, oh man, I didn't want this to happen to those two.
Yeah, I guess you do have a point there. You know what? This may be weird coming from.
I think the kaiju genre is overrated.
I think the giant robot genre is overrated. It's just so cliche. It's the same story every time. Just a stupid kid gets a robot, and then all of a sudden he becomes an instant badass, killing a monster every week.
He's
It
either
gets
he's
fucking
either
boring.
he's either an instant badass or he's Shinji Ikari. I'm just shitting all over Shinji Ikari today.
It's because he's Shinji Ikari. He
Yeah,
brings it upon
fucking-
himself.
He did bring this upon himself. Yeah. Even though it's so funny because I defended him so much and fucking congratulations.
Yeah. Where so many people are like very quick to write him off as just a simple coward when there's so much more to him.
There really is so much more to him, though.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it really does. I think the only reason, and I said this in one of the episodes too, I think the only reason why I like Shinji Ikari so much is because I have that depression as well.
Mhm.
So I'm like, or that feeling of abandonment as well. So I'm like, yeah, I nowhere near as bad as you, but I get it. I at least get it.
Mhm.
I will actually, if Andres and me actually do it, or if I just do it on my own, if we ever get around to doing the Tetsujin 28 live-action movie review,
Uh-huh.
I'm actually going to defend Shinji, because compared to Shotaro Kaneda in the live-action movie, Shinji's got balls.
Like, fuck.
So
Yeah.
let me guess. Shotaro Kaneda is not a boy detective in the live-action movie.
No. That's actually
He doesn't get he doesn't get to drive his own like kid-sized car and get into like gunfights or whatever.
No.
I know what you guys are. What are you guys talking about? You guys are talking about.
Live
Tetsujin
action Gigantor, basically.
Oh, okay.
See,
I heard
when-
Tetsujin 28. I was like, oh my god, is that Gigantor? Oh, I love Gigantor.
Yes. Shotaro Kaneda, or Jimmy Sparks, since we're going Gigantor as well, is like the kid I always wanted to be growing up. He
Uh-huh.
was 10 years old, he carried a gun, he drove a car, he was a detective, and he got his own giant frickin' robot.
Yeah.
And then we get the live-action movie where he's not a detective, he's not got a gun, he's just the whiniest bitch of all time. Like I said, he makes Shinji look like he's got balls.
Uh-huh.
Robot, heal in your hands, Gigantor.
Gigantor. Oh, we're not
Oh, I
seeing...
thought that was
Yeah.
Andres going, God damn it.
I thought that was what Jacob was saying,
Me
actually.
too.
Bigger than big, stronger than strong, quicker
Bigger
than
than
quick.
Biggie.
Quick,
Stronger
stronger
than
than strong, ready to fight for right
against
against
wrong.
wrong.
There's a particular show I kind of find overrated, and it's kind of surprising coming from me, a huge fan of this particular franchise. But I've always, I guess nowadays,
It's Gundam, isn't it?
yeah, it's Gundam Wing in particular.
Oh yeah, highly overrated.
It's like I understand its popularity, its place in anime history, where this was the show that brought the Gundam franchise to America, and as such, it has become basically everybody's first exposure to Gundam. But at this point, like pretty most people have been exposed to either Gundam Wing, G Gundam, or both. Or maybe like on Toonami, I think they may have had Stardust Memory and the original show as well. But the thing is, everyone, I always hear this. The majority of people I hear who have been exposed to any sort of Gundam, it's always Gundam Wing. Everyone kind of like ignores everything else except Gundam Wing. Why? Because it's so nostalgic to them. And I understand it's a very I understand why it's so nostalgic. I understand it has a very special place in everyone's childhood, especially me. But me being a Gundam fan of the Gundam franchise and being exposed to a good portion of what this franchise has to offer, Gundam Wing really is quite middle in the road, really. And like I guess personally, like the biggest fault I have against it is like it has really bad pacing. And a lot of the characters are kind of one-dimensional or just very, very bratty, especially Relina Peacecraft.
Well, for the record, I watched Mobile Suit Gundam and loved it.
Right, you see, it's like if you want to know Gundam, check out the earlier stuff. Don't say, "Oh, I saw Wing and didn't like it," or like I saw Wing and Wing is awesome.
I'm having a hard time getting into.
Because it's 80s, huh?
Yeah.
So
You want to know something that I find that's overrated?
Uh-huh.
80s.
I don't know. With me, it's like with the 80s, I guess because I was born in 92, the 80s was always like that magical decade I never got to be a part of. I wish I got to experience.
Granted, I hate the 90s more. Sorry, no, I need to be more specific. I hate 80s and 90s pop culture.
What, you don't
There.
like all the millions upon millions of boy bands we got in the 90s, Adam?
Oh, I'm sorry. I absolutely love them. Oh, I listen to them every day.
Backstreet's back. All right.
Oh, God. Oh, and that epic band, Marky Mark.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Monkey Bar.
new kids on the block.
Oh, yeah, love them. Oh, they're so good. They are the epitome of high art.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
They are the epitome of high art.
And in NSYNC.
I've actually got a good story to tell pertaining to NSYNC.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
You got to see them in concert, didn't you?
Maybe.
To impress a girl.
No. No.
Wait,
no,
you're gay?
No.
But that's the only reason why you go see an NSYNC concert was either because you're gay or because you wanted to impress a girl.
I thought I was going to an Alice Cooper concert, wound up in the wrong booth, damn it. I thought, what the hell, put the money for the ticket, I'll go see it. No, the school, it wasn't prom, but it was just some dance that they were putting on.
Yeah.
Ooh, I liked
And
it.
everyone brought CDs to listen to and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm flipping through the CDs while everyone's dancing around and doing whatever. And for some reason...
it was the 90s, so they were doing the Macarena.
Oh, I love the
I
Macarena.
think at some point someone
Macarena.
did, yes. Well, there's
So
like the
ridiculous.
Macarena, some pole dancing. I'm surprised I got away with that.
Did you have
But,
like a lot of the laser lights 90s techno?
Oh yeah.
There was no techno. I would have loved that.
Oh, how that one tune that goes. Yeah, that's the one. Or it's like
Sandstorm.
Or it's like do 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 do. Or if we want to get to like this is like the birth of the internet. Dibby dee da dee ba do do dee da dibby do. Dibby dee da dibby dee dibby dee da diddy do.
I like that song, damn it. No.
How many people have like? Whoa! Like this is like a super huge callback. I wonder how many new internet users still remember the hamster dance.
I was going to pop off.
Yes.
I'm actually going into rave mode right now.
Me too.
Ditto!
All of you out there, just imagine the three of us just acting like spazzing out hamsters.
And I've actually got glow sticks over here.
Oh yeah.
I'm blue.
Oh, dude, I'm blue. Da-ba-dee-da-ba-da. Let's see. Oh, darn it. Don't have my phone here. I have the song. No.
Eiffel 65, bitches. Fantastic band.
Wow, that was a huge nostalgia trip. So anyways, continue with your story at the prom.
Yeah, back to the story. Yeah, like I said, I was flipping through the CDs and came across an NSYNC song, or CD.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, why on earth would someone bring this? And then it was immediately followed by, you could be an evil dick right now.
I can
And start playing this.
Toss it into the fire.
No. My thought was I could either save people from having to hear this or have them play it. So everyone's out there dancing around and everything, and I go up to I think it was one of the teachers operating the CD player, and I'm like, hey, could you put this in and put this on track 7 or whatever it was? Like, yeah, sure. She puts it in, and then I walk over to the corner where no one can find me. And they start playing NSYNC, and it was like everyone froze and looked at the teacher sitting there.
Uh-huh.
No one was dancing. They were just standing there, like, confused and pissed. And this one guy, Dondi Beheza, behemoth of a guy at the time. He's like, who on earth chose that? And she points over at me, and he comes up all pissed off. He's like, did you tell her to play that? And I'm like, yeah. Like, why?
Smoke bomb.
Piss everyone off. And he's like,
everyone
that's
off.
a good reason. And then he walked off.
Hey man, that takes balls. I respect that.
I respect that. I like
It was one of those moments. I earned my keep that day. I got to keep from getting my ass kicked, and I managed to confuse the hell out of everyone.
What you should have done is like you should have been like a badass and just like walk out the building pretending like it exploded behind you.
Ooh,
I didn't have sunglasses, or I would. Yeah!
Oh boy.
That's the great. It was like during the Halloween part of an amusement park I used to work at. I was running the music, and suddenly the people who play the Cowboys of the Air, it's a Western themed theme park, and when they came out, I blared the Psycho music.
Uh-huh.
I walked out, and I actually blew the speakers because I was blaring the Psycho music.
Let's see. Well, is there anything is there anything else we have
talked
to?
about that's overrated?
Yeah, overrated. Yeah.
Tiny
there's-
whities are really overrated.
Yeah, man, it's boxers all the way, dude.
Boxers all the way. No, not even like boxer briefs, but like just regular boxers. I find golden retrievers to be an overrated breed of dog.
I'm sorry. I always found poodles. No, I always found fucking chihuahuas, man.
Fucking chihuahuas.
I hate chihuahuas.
Fucking,
So fucking useless. All they do is bark
fuck do
and
they
shake.
do?
They bark and shake.
They're
God,
not
you
dogs.
sit in the palm of my
Anything
hand.
smaller
Make
than a...
in the palm of my
anything
hand.
smaller
My
than a
cat
Great
could
Dane is
eat
not a
those
dog.
things.
Yeah, and I just so happened to used to have owned 2 Great Danes in my life.
Oh, I love Great Danes.
Well, Raggy.
No, I like Great Danes just the one reason why I like Great Danes because I don't need to bend over to pet them.
It's because they can look you straight in the eye.
No, I can tell you what. The most underrated dog of all time, hands down, the pit bull.
I live in the South. Those things are overhyped big time.
I love pit bulls.
They're like
so
as
much.
popular as trucks.
Oh, really?
Yes, down here it's like the coolest things on earth is trucks, pit bulls, and beer.
Can I have one? They're so cute and adorable, and I love them. A man isn't complete without his pit bull, and not the rapper.
Overrated books. Now,
Oh.
I could, of course, go with the Twilight franchise, but of course that one's overrated. Everyone knows that. The books
Yeah,
need
those
to be
just
marked.
suck.
But I will flat out say Harry Potter is overrated.
Me too. I agree. I don't think they're well written at all.
It's really hard because I grew up with those books, but it's been a really long time since I've actually read them. But I do think that the 5th book really goes way too long, and I think it really shows because the books were getting longer and longer with each installment, and the 5th book was perhaps the largest one. And it wasn't by then. It's like J.K. Rowling is like, okay, I need to cut back on this thing.
Well, I have to say, I think some of Stephen King is extremely overrated, though I absolutely adore his book, The Stand.
Mm-hmm.
Adore it.
Okay, I haven't read The Stand, but the 2 books that he did that surprised the hell out of me is how good they were. Because I don't think he's that good of a writer. But Carrie and Phases of the Moon.
Oh, those are great books.
They're what?
They're great.
Oh, great, yes.
Yeah, I love them.
Like Phases of the Moon, that one surprised me at how superior it was to Silver Bullet. The movie based
I haven't read Silver Bullet.
No, it's the movie they made based off of Phases of the Moon.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Oh,
Have
that's
you
cool.
seen the
So you
movie
learn
Silver
something
Bullet?
new every day.
Have you seen the movie Silver Bullet?
No.
You should. It's worth a watch. But bear in mind that the book is far superior.
If it's not Dog Soldiers, I'm not interested. Oh, that movie is so good.
Bro fist right there for Dog Soldiers.
Bam! Fucking Dog Soldiers was awesome. Basically,
Irish
it's like
werewolf.
a bunch of army guys trapped in a house as werewolves are trying to get in. That is awesome.
The only thing against the movie is that the werewolves had basically no hair.
This is true. Yeah, I didn't really care for the werewolf design. Overall, though, to be honest,
overall,
I think my favorite werewolf movie overall, I have to say, is The Howling.
Only the first one. The rest of them don't.
Oh yeah, the rest of them suck ass. Yeah, the first one I absolutely adored.
I'm still going to have to chalk this up to An American Werewolf in London. That has always been
it is a really good
favorite
one.
werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's number 2 on my favorite movies of all time list. So.
Let's see, another overrated book, The Bible. No.
Specifically the King James edition.
Don't you study theology?
I love the Bible. It's like my favorite book ever. I love reading it.
Well, I'm Christian, so yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, if I was ever trapped on an island somewhere, all alone, completely by myself, and I had to pick one book that was the only book I could ever have to read ever again, I'd always pick the Bible.
The Cat in the Hat.
The Cat in the Hat.
Dr. Seuss, he's highly overrated too.
Yeah,
fucking rhyming and shit.
1 fish, 2 fish, 3 fish blue. I mean, what the hell is that?
What the hell is that?
My hat is old, my teeth are golden, now my story is all told. What kind of story is that?
Oh, anything by R.L. Stine. Want to go back to the 90s, R.L. Stine.
Son of a bitch, that was a long time ago.
Funny enough, I never actually read any of his books. I remember I always saw his books at the library, at the elementary school library, and the Scholastic bookstore. I seen the books everywhere, and I never read them. I just like looking at the book art and being terrified or laugh my butt off at looking at that art.
Yeah, I actually
terrible.
thought
Though some of the books aren't that bad.
Yeah, but his books themselves, they're really not that good. I mean, the only reason I bought the one was because it had a giant mantis on it.
Yeah.
Hey, come back for
Oh, I also like the one entitled "The Blob That Ate Everyone."
I remember there was one
I looked at that one and I was like, "Oh my god, that is."
And the seed for the obese was there.
Yeah.
Speaking of the obese, I remember there was this one cover from Goosebumps that really disgusted me, where it's like this kid just stuffing his face full of dirt and worms and trash and garbage and bugs and bits of food in his mouth.
I remember this one where like a kid would take a picture of somebody, and when the picture would come out of the camera, it'd show them as a skeleton, and then all of a sudden that person would die.
I remember the cover to that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, didn't the cover have it like a skeleton family having a barbecue?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I remember one that I actually really enjoyed was Trouble in Terror Tower.
Oh wait,
that one I actually liked.
Did that have like some executioner-looking guy?
Yes.
Okay, I remember that.
I think if I remember right, he was like stepping down these curly stairs.
Yeah, and like, wasn't there
I am the horse. I don't know why this made me think of that, but I am the horseless headsman. I remember this commercial at around Halloween's time for Snickers, and all of a sudden, this giant fucking head with these little tiny legs walks up to all these kids and he goes, "I am the horseless headsman." and then all of a sudden, like, "Here, eat a Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry." And then he takes a bite. And he's like, "Better." And then all of a sudden he sees the headless horseman again, and he rides off into the distance. I am the horseless headsman. that make me think of that?
I don't know, man.
Oh, I do know why. Because there's another cover similar to Trouble in Terror Tower of this guy that didn't have any head walking down these flight of stairs and he was a ghost.
Uh-huh.
That's why. Okay.
Well, and then of course there was a cover with jack-o'-lantern people.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
There's one with scarecrows that always freaked me out, too.
Oh, you know what? I remember the ending. I remember the TV show one. That ending really creeped me out because those jack-o'-lantern people turn out to be aliens. And when they say goodbye to their human friends, they kind of mention that they ate 6 people who disappeared.
Oh, just casually mention that, yeah.
Yeah. And they jokingly mention how they might get their human friends next time. I was like, ooh.
God.
Let's see. So I guess have we run out of things to talk about to complain about
That are overrated. Fucking red
suppose-
paint.
What?
Red paint is overrated.
Paint? You know what? Fucking number 3 pencils.
Fucking, what the fuck is up with that shit? They're not good for anything.
I remember the elementary schools. They had us use freaking number 3 pencils, and they were so.
Oh, you mean number
useful.
2?
No, number 3 pencils, like those big thick ones, like the very light lead.
Oh, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit.
You know what I also hate? I also hate, what do you call it? How there were those books that you read as children, but they didn't, the paper was like, it has like that newspaper, paper. Like Captain Underpants, remember that shit? How it had that, like, that paper, it had that cheap paper quality. Yeah.
Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Fucking right in your ass.
That thing.
Right after you sign it.
that thing, those pages can sign my ass.
Fucking Christ.
Let's see.
Fucking be done with us. You know who I think is really overrated?
Us? No, wait, we have to be... We have
no
rated.
rating.
Yeah, we have to be rated before we can be overrated.
You know who's really fucking overrated?
Matt Frank.
You know who's really fucking overrated? You know who's really fucking overrated?
Are you really going to make us guess, or are you just going to say it?
Chris
Orson
Welles.
Aw.
That piece of shit. Oh,
He makes one Godzilla movie and he thinks he's tough shit. Nah.
he makes one fucking Godzilla fan film and he thinks he's the greatest fucking fan filmmaker fucking able to walk the face of the earth. My fucking ass. You ain't shit. I'm the guy who directed Gamera 4. God.
Oh, I hope he doesn't take this seriously if it
I
ever
hope
comes
so
across
too,
this.
because I'm not being serious about that at all.
It would really suck to make enemies among the Godzilla fan base, especially like more well-known people like him.
Yeah, right.
And then I go,
Bob Eggleton overrated.
You know, it did, in all seriousness though, it did take me a while to warm up to Matt Frank. Or his style, I should say.
Oh, really now? Okay.
Yeah, I saw some of his earlier pictures and I was like, it's okay. But no, I can say now that I really, really enjoy his artwork.
Let's see. I just remember imagining just making like a bunch of enemies, and then when you go to G-Fest and you meet those people, it's like, oh, you're that fucker, eh?
Billy DeBose, the worst director ever.
The guy in the Hyper Godzilla costume can't act.
He had one fucking job.
One
and that's
fucking
to
job.
stomp around. Wave his arms around and stomp about, but no. He thought he could get all fancy and
You know what's a really terrible movie? A really terrible movie? Werewolf of Carl Place. God damn it.
Yeah. What kind
Fuck
of
that
fucking werewolf
shit.
was that? That girl who refuses to scream?
That fucking light that manages to magically turn on and off over and over and over again.
That
Fuck
fucker
What the
fucker
fuck?
Bill who can't even spell correctly while texting his friend.
Texting. Oh, what an ass.
I hope they all die.
Hope they all get the fucking helicopter crash.
Oh no! Oh no!
Dude, too soon.
Oh shit! And on that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that is a fantastic point.
That's the note?
Yes, that is the point of no return. We have gone to the point of no return. So if this podcast gets canceled by the lords of YouTube, we might as well end on a fantastic, memorable note such as this. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the 1 year anniversary special. Thank you so much for following us for 1 year, or and all the people who have come along with us on this journey along the way. We hope to be around for many more years to come.
Thank you. After that comment I just made, I don't think so.
Thank you very much, Jacob, for joining us once again. And thank you so much for all the art that you have provided us with, especially for this particular episode, for our new intro and title card, which, funny enough, has not been completed. The intro has not been put together yet as of this recording, but will hopefully when this thing is uploaded. So we're kind of doing a little like foreshadowing time travel sort of thing here. But yes, thank you so much for all that you have contributed, Jacob, and you're more than welcome to come on anytime, man.
It's always a pleasure. I'm always glad to do this stuff for you guys, provided I can get my ass around to doing it.
Yeah. And Adam,
like the massive delays on the Titanosaurus, but, you know,
and
always
Adam,
glad to lend a hand.
Of course. And Adam, thank you so much for, well, being Adam.
Oh, fucking... You're fucking welcome, Andres. You know that? You are so welcome.
Well, thank you once again. Thank you very much, for ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I have been Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir.
I'm Adam Noyes.
And I am Jacob K. Baker for Atomic Stick Figure Productions. Also doing a plug for the Godzilla Saga, which you can find on Facebook, and Godzilla Battle Royale, which you can find on YouTube. And then my own channel, which I just plugged, so let's move on. And
mainly the Godzilla Saga, though. To be completely honest, mainly the Godzilla Saga.
And previously that
Battle Royale.
and previously that was David from Gorzard. You can check him out on whatever channels are still around that haven't been struck down by copyright. Otherwise, just the plain old Gorzard is his latest channel now. He doesn't upload shit most of the time.
He doesn't do a fucking thing, but subscribe to him.
Subscribe to him, and also be sure to check us out on the Sons of Serizawa podcast as well, and along with Jacob Baker's Obscure Review.
Oh, and do check out my new show, Creature Feature Double Feature. The first episode, of course, is up with Andres and I, and we watched 2 great Bird Eye Gordon movies, which I will not reveal here.
And, of course, stay tuned for a one last wrap-up review where me and Pete talk about all the movies we saw at the end of 2014. Check out our best and worst of 2014, and as well as check out an upcoming review with me and Deadpoolzilla for Godzilla the Half Century War. So until next time, everybody, take care.
See you later.
Go.